We are live. Welcome to Hardly Initiated here tonight. It is another late night special here, Wednesday night at 8 p.m. here for you. Welcome, 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 guys. You're in for a treat tonight, y'all.
We about to go crazy on
You're
this
in for a treat. It is your host, Tyshawn Jackson, here again with my co-host, Ryan Catchings.
What's poppin'? We
Yes.
about to go crazy on this one.
And we are here with the good brothers. Man, put a cycle around the table. Put the camera on the brothers that we got here with us. I don't know if y'all understand how hard it is to get brothers like this at a table at the same time on a regular basis. But tonight is special. We doing it for the brothers tonight.
Only facts.
For the brothers.
We doing it for the brothers tonight.
They call this Voltron. That's what they call it.
We
Yes.
in the building.
Yes, guys, let me tell y'all, each one of these brothers here at this table are all married. And that is very intentional because tonight we're going to talk about should you stay or should you leave your relationship.
Lord Jesus.
All right, so we are going to go there tonight. And I'm going to introduce the brothers here because each of them are very much so qualified to be at the table. I'm going to start with this good brother here to my right.
Let's get it.
Oh, my goodness. Look at the handsome brother. First of all, this the OG of the table here.
Yes.
Come on.
How many years have you been in that marriage?
26.
Woo.
26. Come, no, yeah, 26. We had our anniversary.
Let me tell you, this brother here has been married longer than most of y'all have been alive.
Alive.
Okay? So it's going to be some great game dropped here on this show. All right? And yes, this here, My Marriage is Dope. Show the shirt, flaunt the shirt.
baby.
Here representing Marriage
Podcast
Inc.
coming soon.
Podcast.
Via, by way of.
I love it.
Yes.
Sponsored by, supported by, Hardly Initiated.
I like that.
In the building.
Yes. So we got a certified marriage coach here, man. He about to coach y'all behind up here tonight. I appreciate you joining us here.
Love
on the
being
show.
here, man. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having
Absolutely.
me.
Now over here to the left, man. Look at these two brothers here, man. Two handsome brothers here, both married. Ladies, act right. all
Ebony
right?
and Ivory, baby.
Definitely did this Ebony and Ivory.
Ebony and Ivory all day long. I'm gonna start with one of my mentors here, and you've quickly become one of my mentors, Chris Crump, Coach Crump here, men's coach, motivational speaker,
man.
world changer.
Come on,
welcome
man.
to the platform here tonight.
Coach Crump.
Hey, man, listen, man, it's an honor. It's a privilege. Let's get busy, man. I'm looking forward to it.
How long you been married, by the way?
16 years, my brother. 16 years.
That's expert level, 16 years.
I need y'all to have a calculator adding these years up because this is the experience
Come on.
that
Come
we
on.
bringing to the table here
Come on.
tonight. All right, this is not a joke. What's happening right here? Look at the brother right there. Yes, you better talk right to that brother. That brother will end your life with a shoulder bump, brother. Y'all better get right.
Keep it by distance.
Yeah.
We're part of the family, man. It's all love here.
It's all love. We in here, brother. Y'all can already tell this brother here is doing something real different. We talking ex-NFL in the building.
Come on, baby.
Fitness
Come on.
coach, fitness enthusiast.
Facts.
He got the products all on my camera. First of all,
100%.
look,
You
show
gotta
the
keep
products
them
and move them
here.
shit out
Oh,
the
we keep
camera
the
way real
products.
quick. Show the products, then you got to move it out the camera.
We gotta
Goddamn
move
it.
that way. What we gotta go with? I'm gonna make sure. We got them all. Which one I'm missing? I'm missing. Okay, make sure you get them in there.
Yeah.
G-Shred supplements for life, man.
Absolutely.
Best products on the market. We changing lives. We getting these brothers healthy. We getting the ladies healthy, toned up, fine. Everybody loving each other, looking good.
Yeah.
And then in the day, when you look good, sometimes you can let some of them problems go.
Yeah.
You're not gonna
Just a
stay
few
ass
of 'em.
mad.
Right.
You're not gonna stay ass mad.
Just a few of 'em.
When your man got the abs
Just-
showing, when your wife got that body popping,
Yeah.
stay ass mad.
Yeah.
I'm trying to save all the brothers and ladies in the world, man. We trying to change lives by the day.
Right. I want to ask you, how long have you been married, brother?
I've been married 9 years.
9 years.
Going on 10.
9
February,
years.
So we on our way.
It's crazy, man. This
We
brother been
on our
married
way,
9 years, and the crazy thing is, you think about it, he's been married for a decade, and he's still like the young OG at the table.
I know, that's crazy.
So that's
That mean-
50 years of marriage at the table right now.
Plus years.
50
years.
plus.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
credible.
If you can't learn nothing from this, I don't know. I don't know what kind of help you
You need
need.
some serious help.
You need some help, man. You need some help. So listen, super excited to have y'all here. Listen, if y'all ready for the conversation, put a yes right there in the chat. Let me know you ready to get
Fire up
this
the
thing
chat.
popping. Let me know you ready to get
Make
this
it
thing
litty in
popping
the
because it's
city.
about to go in, baby.
Yo,
Ryan, take care of 'em.
listen, I'm pulling up the chat right now because we've been going crazy the past few lives. This is officially our 5th live, guys. We've been going crazy. 40 YouTube membership channel members, which is crazy. And this thing, we're about 12,000 away from 100,000 subs on YouTube. So
Yeah,
I'm about to
that's
drop the
amazing,
link.
man.
Yeah, it's going crazy. I'm about to drop the link right now. So please make sure you subscribe to the channel because Tyshawn's about to get us popping. But real quick, Lano, I want you to pull up that member shout out real quick. Guys, we've been having so many people join the membership. I told y'all just 2 days ago, 100 members in the next 30 days. We had 6 people join. So I want to get those 6 people a shout out real quick. Who we got? I can't even see that. Lano, who is it?
We got
Anitra. Alex. Wife. I'm not even sure. Hold on. Let me pull this thing up.
You got Lawana?
Where we at? Okay, cool. We got Lawana. We got Wife. We got Alex Minor. We got Anitra Alexander, Katrina Butler, Shawnetta, and Betty J. Yo, shout out to the YouTube members.
Welcome to the
Listen,
family, baby.
That's enough time. Listen, we about to get it popping too because I've been talking to the members. I told y'all we dropped the link for a 15-minute chat with me and Tyshawn. We probably on our 15th person we spoke to. One of the things y'all been asking me about is a members only chat. So look out for that. We're gonna drop the members only chat as soon as the conversation gets too spicy because everybody can't be a part of the spicy conversation.
Everybody can be a part of it.
Everybody can be a part of that. It gotta subscribe.
It's the
Let's
family.
get it popping, man. Let's get it rolling.
It's the family. It's the family. So listen, I already told y'all we about to take y'all through an experience because a lot of people out here are having these. Listen, y'all know we about the family. We about the healthy relationships. We want y'all building, but through that building process, it can get treacherous. You can have some doubt. You could be pushed to some places that you ain't never been before. That's why we got these brothers here at the table here with us. Because the way I want to start this conversation off is I want you guys to keep it real with the people. You've made it. We got over 50 years at the table right now. I want you guys to let me know, have you ever been pushed to a place or was there a situation or experience where your marriage was literally on the brink of collapse? We're going to start right there.
Look over there. Don't look at me. Look over there first.
Let me tell you, the brother that tell you to look somewhere else, that's exactly where you need to look. Matter of fact, OG.
OG gonna start it out.
OG,
Come on,
I want
baby.
you to give me. I want you to keep it real. Give me a testimony. Have you been to that place, and
Oh, for sure.
what was that experience?
For sure, yeah, yeah. My wife didn't like me a lot, and she really had decided that experiencing other opportunities was better for her, and not only that, but man, it was like, what do I have to do to get you to love me?
Yes.
Like, no. What do I have to do to get you to love me in the way I need to be loved? And she wasn't mature enough to do that and to be that woman. And it had gotten to a point, man, I packed my stuff up. I said, I'm out. I left. So when you talk about thinking about leaving, I wasn't thinking about leaving. I left. And actually, I was in a full-blown relationship with another woman. Was talking about raising her kids. And,
Man.
Wow.
And I was going to be a father to my kids. That was the big thing. And I remember packing up. I remember packing up my car. I didn't have the money to move out. Was living in Huntsville, Alabama. I didn't have the money to move out, so I had to go to my mom's, work a little bit, get my paper up, and then leave. And so I left.
So hold on. Let's unpack this because you already given us a lot right here.
That's
At
true.
what year in your relationship did this event take place?
This was about year 10.
Oh, you don't put that on me right now.
This was about year 10.
Okay.
About 2011.
Now-
And this was sneaky link conversation, spending time away from home. Like I would use Atlanta Bread Company as my office, so I would go there, work, internet there, but I'm emailing. I'm chatting, I'm texting. It wasn't too much video, the FaceTiming going on at that point in time, and it was serious. Matter of fact, that's how I got caught. That's how she confronted me. She was like, "Well, who is thus and so?" And I was like, well, if you really need to know who thus and so is, this is who it is. And I'm out. As soon as I have an opportunity, I'm out. So I had scheduled some work. I went up to my mom's and this is how God will do it. What I thought was going to be a good thing for me was a horrible thing for me. Like what I thought I was setting up as a life of happiness and what have you, it was going to be a life of pain and anguish. Because I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing in the first place. But I full blown left, man, and it wasn't until that fell apart, and Shirley and I actually, I was sitting up in Philadelphia at my mom's house, like, man, do I really want to do this to my family? She is a good woman. I had to. So what I do is I do this when we coach. I have a spouse look at their spouse as a parent. If they trust their spouse with their children, then that means you're not evil. That means you just got problems that you can't work out. So I knew Shirley wasn't an evil person,
right?
But we just weren't clicking, and that situation fell apart. And it was just like, do we want to actually make this work? And she was like, yeah, I do. But that was the first time that I had really gotten buy-in from her. And she had to explain to herself and the boys why daddy had gone.
How long were you gone?
About 3-4 months.
Wow.
And but when I came back, man, that's what really kind of catapulted us to moving in a right direction. It still was we were uphill. It was uphill all the way, but we had some momentum and we were moving in the right direction. So I definitely know what it's like.
For reference, audience, him and his current wife that he was experiencing that situation
Shirley.
with, they are still married. And how many years?
26 years.
26 years. So that just shows you that you can get close, maybe even potentially break a situation up, but then find a way to recover. So I think we got a bunch of questions for you on that one.
Oh man,
but
for sure.
But before we open it up with Shannon, because it's already getting spicy. We 10 minutes in, we got over 100 people. We got over 100 people on the live right now, which is a record, 130.
Yeah.
I want to get an idea from Coach Crump and Rod if you also had maybe not as similar of an experience, but just a situation whether it was leading up to the marriage or in your current marriage where you was at a fork in the road, like should I stay or should I leave?
Yeah.
You gonna go ahead.
Yeah. For me, my wife called me a traditionalist. I have a lot of my dad in me, but I was never in my mind. It's like, are we getting married? I'm not signing no papers, and I ain't leaving this house. So let me put that in your head early. Now, I didn't know what that was going to cost me to say that. So over the 22 years together, 16 years married, a lot of pain on both parts. And for me, again, I go back to me struggling with just the inexperience of what to say when you're talking about a dynamic woman. My reference was my mother, who I saw my dad was married to, who was stay-at-home mom, who worked at the factory for a little while and was available for him hand and foot. That was a little different than my wife, college cum laude, CPA, high-end professional. That's a different needs. And I was trying to pitch a narrative that I saw on her that wasn't right for us. And I didn't have the communication. I didn't have the conflict resolution. So I would just shut down. Or I would just get dismissive, or I would just disengage, which only made things worse. So I didn't have a dramatic fallout over a situation. I had a slow drip of frustration that we started growing apart. Because you just got tired of trying, you got tired of dealing with it, you got tired of trying to figure it out. It just got exhausting. And so through that, I went through a panic attack. I broke out in shingles, and she had her challenges, and to the point where it's like, I'm so tired, I need somebody to help me. My pride, my ego couldn't carry it no more. So I got a marriage coach, I got counseling, and now I'm in the process of rebuilding a firmer foundation on what we said years ago. It's like we're in the making that reestablished right now.
So you still in the process right now of rebuilding?
I'm still in the process of okay, let's do this all over again. We're in that stage right now, because you don't. The guy, I was listening to you guys the other night when you were talking about man, what's the sex life in marriage and all that, right? 20 years ago, oh yeah, I had a whole sex tape for that. Man, listen, my sex needs are different at 40. Her sex needs is different at 42. We're completely different people. So it's like you have to unlearn and also relearn not only yourself but each other. And I'm in that right now. I'm navigating that right now in real time.
That growing apart part, just so I can get context as well, because what was it again? Was it 16 years? Y'all at now?
16 years married, 21, 22 years together.
And when that rift, when these moments of dissension started to take place, what year was that? Was it a specific time that you can point back to?
That's about 2 or 3 years in.
Wow.
But you just get like, whatever. You keep saying whatever, then you look up and it's 10 years. You keep saying, you tripping, it's 10 years. Bills are paid, the kids are okay. You kind of just go along to get along, but then you get a point in your life where it's like, I just can't do it. She couldn't do it no more, I couldn't do it no more. We couldn't just do it, just show up, just keep doing this. Like, nah, something has to drastically change. You know what I mean? But in my mind, still, I ain't signing no papers, I ain't leaving the house. So we got to do whatever. I didn't realize how much internal work I had to do, internal healing, trauma, narratives, all this work that I had to do. So that's why I have a lot of empathy for people in this space, because a dude is just like, look, I'm providing, I'm showing up, I'm consistent, but conversations and conflict, like that's a skill set. You know what I mean? That's not just, I had the desire. I want love. I want to be loved. I didn't have the skill set to communicate when she challenged me. When she wasn't meeting my needs and I wanted to communicate it without offending her, and us getting caught up in battling the offense and missing the fact that my needs still not met. You know what I mean? So it was like, it took me a while to get there. You know what I mean? My wife is 2 years older than me, so even my maturity state.
Come on, Cougar.
You know what I mean? Was
Nick the Cougar, I would call it.
You can watch this.
Everybody watching live right now.
Yeah. But the point I'm making is like, I had to do a lot of work, and this is why I love my wife. I'm such a ninja. I'm such a cold-blooded. When you have females cater to you, like, look, I go left quick. Like I tell people, I ain't a Christian because like I need a God, a Savior, blood, because the ninja in me kicks in every day.
Yeah.
Every single day. So when I think about who I am, I'm only him now because I honored the commitment between her, and it forced me to grow. It forced me to evolve. It forced me to face stuff that if I was in my own bag, my own way, and everybody, oh, Coach Crump, oh, this, oh, I got a bunch of fans, bunch of cheerleaders, but I need a woman who was going to coach me. And I had to receive it, and only a marriage would accept the level of vulnerability that I would have received. So the man you facing, like, this ain't no degree did this. Ain't no what set I represent where I'm from back in my old hood. This is me honoring a commitment. And now this is the version of man you get 16 years later.
This is just this is kind of crazy to me because I mean each of y'all, me and Tyshawn look up to each of y'all respectfully.
Facts.
And it's kind of crazy to hear that you guys have experiencing these things because it shows that all men can have these different relationship challenges.
Oh, for sure.
And also another thing, because I want to go to Rob, but another thing is each of y'all are public figures. Now, Rod and his wife, they got a brand together. Shirley and Shannon, they got a brand together. And also, Crump, with you building the King's Conference, you got to have your queen right next to you. That's part of it.
Yeah. For sure.
So, let me ask you, Rod, are you also in this same boat where you came to a situation where it was potential for you to have to decide whether I'm going to stick it out or walk away?
100%. If I don't think it's any brother, honestly, that has been married, that hasn't had it cross their mind at some point in time. Because at the end of the day, with me, and I think especially with me, I've always been controlling my life and my narrative. I know hard work, discipline, staying focused. I can get it done. We can push through. Let's go. I see the vision. Just join the party. When me and my wife got together, she was 8 years younger than me. So I'm 32 coming out the league. She's 24 just getting to Atlanta. So she's a young, pretty, oh man, that's mine. That's what I want right there. So even when we first got together, the challenges was I had a girl when I met her. She didn't know. She found out a few weeks. She said about a month later. I said it was 2 weeks. She said a month, but she found out. But at that time, we were still new. We just was meeting each other. I felt like, man, that's just normal stuff we do. You can't hold me accountable to that when I don't even really know you. To her, based off her past and the abandonment and the trauma she's dealt with, it was huge to her. With me not being honest out the gate. I didn't know the repercussions I was going to face with that moving forward down the line. So moving forward, after 3 years of dating, enjoying life, doing wild stuff, we knew in order for us to be together, we had to do it the right way. So I got introduced to one of my mentors named Mike Ware, and we went to a marriage conference at Word of Faith called Radical Love. I don't know if you heard of that. But we was the only single couple. I mean, we was the only couple. Everybody else was married. We was the only ones that wasn't married. And they allowed us to come in the course and see, hey, Rod, if you can finish this course, you will know if y'all should be married. So at that point in time, we went through the course twice. And at that point in time, I wanted to do it right. I wanted to do it by God's grace. I wanted to do it the right way. We stopped having sex. Started living with God, got saved. So I'm thinking we on our way. After we got married, everything hit the fan.
Everything.
Well, I'm thinking it's
All
sweet.
of it.
Well, I think it's sweet, and I think we finna just have this blissful relationship. Past is behind us. I'm thinking she done forgave me for every mistake before we got married, while we first got married. No. It all came back up first few years. I couldn't win to save my life. Anything I was doing that I thought was right, good, honorable to her, it always got washed away by what I did in the past. Past kept coming up, conversations, arguments. We couldn't never communicate. It was always emotions tied into it. I'm a guy that's like, man, let's get to the solution. She's the one I want to stay in my feelings, and you need to be here with me. And I'm like, baby, why? What is that accomplishing? Us staying in this space that we can't push forward. What are we accomplishing? To her, she needed me there. For me, I couldn't be there. I was always wanting to push forward. I always wanted her to get past it, and it didn't work. And as fast as I get her over it, as fast it'll come right back up 2 months later. Full out, blast out argument. You know, she's from Jersey. I grew up with a mother from the South. I'm from Florida. Soft-spoken, never curse, never disrespect anybody. That's what I saw a woman should be. Honor, respect, don't curse. My wife is the total opposite.
Not no Jersey. My wife from Jersey.
I've never been disrespected and called more names from a woman than this woman. It's guys that wouldn't be alive today, or still they'd be asleep right now if they would have said the things that I've heard from her. And at that time, it was so hard for me because I never took disrespect well. So I was always one to show you, if you disrespect me, these are the consequences. With her, I couldn't do that. With her, she was ready for the fight.
You met your match right there.
She was ready for the fight.
Wow.
So even early on in our relationship, we used to get physical. You know, it was times I had to call Mom, like, Mom, this ain't me. Like, I ain't never been in this. I've never had to deal with this. I never put my hand on a woman. I never grabbed a woman. But this one here,
This one here?
there's nothing I can do. I can't control it. I can't control her. I don't know what to do when she spaz out on me. I don't know how to handle it. Who she talking to? She called them all names. Then 2 weeks later, we in love again, and I'm the best thing ever. And it's like, how do we keep getting here? There was a point in time in our relationship to where she probably was saying, I'm going to get the paper signed. I was the same way, like, go get them, I'll sign them.
Y'all would threaten each other. Y'all would threaten each other for divorce.
We was using that as sword. Oh, that was a weapon. Oh, that
Wow.
was a weapon. Even after we set the boundary saying, divorce is not an option. I don't believe in divorce. I would never leave my family. We're going to rock this till we dead. It don't matter. If we're going to be miserable for 50 years, we got to be miserable for 50 years. But I believe in order for me to protect my legacy, my kids, my generations after me, I have to be the sacrifice. And my pain, my suffering, trials and tribulations, to hold this marriage tough, I have to do it. So I'm one who I never gave up in my life. I can never give up on her. As much pain, as much as we was going through, as much as she told me, I'm not that guy, I'm not the one, she needs something different. Baby, where you going? Because I'm not leaving. So the only person can leave is you, but I'm not going. And she threatened me and used it all the time. I mean, to this day, we still have those conversations like, baby, why? Why are we still dealing with this to this day?
And I have to help the why. You know, sometimes look at marriage, people think it's for satisfaction. but marriage is for sanctification.
Yes.
And so the pruning process when you get into a covenant relationship under God, the battle of the flesh of trying to figure out how to win my fleshly desire, when really it's a battle to submit and surrender your flesh for the godly covenant, and you have to navigate that for the first time really in your life. And that is something that when he talks about God, when I talk to men, I'm like, okay, bro, let's keep it practical, because he talked about no emotions. Let's keep it practical. We talking about your wife and your kids in your home. If somebody has to sacrifice, you pick. You be the person to pick. I ain't gonna pick for your house. But for your house, between you, your wife, and your kids, who you gonna pick to sacrifice? Me? Okay. If somebody has to work harder than anybody else, you pick. Is it gonna be you, your wife, or me? If somebody has to support harder than anybody else, you pick, man. It's your house. I ain't gonna tell you how to run your house. So what do you think you have to be trained and prepared for in order to do that regularly, daily? And so a lot of times having a coach like Shannon helped me to even see myself, because I'm like pissed, I'm like turned, because it's going to be unfair. It's going to be off, like it, bruh, somebody has to take care of this whole home. So you looking at fairness, you're going to lose all day.
Yeah, fairness every time. And that's probably one of the biggest challenges, because you sit and you talk to men who are like really trying to figure it out. But the one question that keeps coming up is, what about me? What about what I need? What about how I feel? Does it matter? And the only answer I have is no. It doesn't. You trying to make it fair, it's not designed to be fair, especially from a Christian perspective.
Wow.
Like I can't speak for any other kind of spiritual mindset. If you Allah, Buddha, I don't know who. All I can talk about is what I understand from a Jesus perspective, from a biblical perspective. And y'all remember Shirley said, it's so interesting, Rod. My wife, when we did the podcast the first time, right? She said that marriage will bring out the worst in you. You were saying to your mama, like, this ain't me. I don't do this, mama. But it's designed to do that, because there's a pruning that has to happen. There's a shaping in masonry. They call it getting the rough edges. You got to turn a rough thing into a smooth thing. The only way that's violent. That's violent. If you look at anything if you look at Rod, that didn't happen by itself.
And not overnight, yeah.
And it didn't happen overnight. That was a constant tearing down of muscle tissue in order to build it up to a point that it's at a point of perfect 5% body fat. You just want that. You think that's just at 45. Right, at 45 years old. Yeah, you think that's just going to happen? And what people think in marriage is, it's just going to happen. Like you in that, on them reels, when you look at the comments, they're like, oh, no, it's crazy. These ain't crazy.
Never get married.
Nobody, I ain't never going to do it. If this was marriages, then I wouldn't have nothing to do with it. But this is what marriage is.
That's why the divorce rate's so high.
And it's one of the reasons why. And if you can stick in there long enough, if you can just hone in on what you have to do, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You 100%. Got 50 years of marriage at the table.
So real quick, because I want to go back, because you said your wife was giving you the business. I'm just curious. I still want to hear about how you was able to handle all the stuff from the past. But look, before we do that, I just dropped a poll, guys. We got almost 200 people.
Come on, man.
And this is a record. This is a record. Within 30 minutes, almost 200 people.
Listen, they need to be sharing this. They need to be sharing this right now.
The audience is really, I've never seen our audience so silent. So I know we get deep. I've never seen it so silent. But guys, let's get to 100 votes. I'm going to leave this poll open for the next 2-3 minutes. Let's get to 100 votes on this poll. Have you specifically ever considered divorce? And it's an anonymous poll, because we're talking about your current situation. I just want y'all to be real, because if the fella's gonna be real,
come on,
I need y'all to be real. Let's get 100 votes on that poll ASAP. And Rod, I want to go to you real quick, because I mean, I can only imagine, like you said, getting that level of disrespect. And as a man, we think so logically. So we expect that we made a deal with our woman, that after we make this deal, we never gonna come back to it. Right. So knowing that now that's not the case, how do you deal with stuff that keeps coming back up over and over again? Like, what do you do?
Keep it 100. It's a lot of prayer. It's a lot of faith. It's a lot of, I have my best friend, one of my best friends is a pastor. My next good friend is a pastor. All of us married, but everybody I keep in my circle is people who can hold me accountable.
Come on.
And at the same time will give me the instruction and the wisdom on how to navigate my life and marriage. Because at the end of the day, I think our spouse is designed to make us go to God, because we know on our own strength it's impossible. We can never figure out how to please her the way she need to be pleased. I cannot connect with I'm in counseling now because emotionally I'm still trying to figure out how to connect with my wife in a way that she needs, when it's like, sweetie, all you have to do is tell me what you want. I'm here. Just tell me. But I cannot read your mind. I don't know what you're feeling without you telling me. I don't know how to react to a situation that you're dealing with the way you need me to unless you tell me. I only can do my best. And if my best ain't good enough, God, where do we go from here? Because it seems like my best is never good enough. My efforts are never shown, are never appreciated. Babe, I'm not emotional. I'm a logical thinker, solution-based. So if I'm over here trying my hardest to go to counseling 101, mentorship, doing everything I can to connect with you, why you can't meet me at least, not even halfway, 1/4 the way to say, hey, I need to at least show my husband that I'm trying to connect with him in a way that he can understand as well. Because if I'm over here just emotional, I'm not getting logic, I'm not getting understanding, you're not even trying to understand me, we still never gonna be able to connect the right way. We never gonna be able to bring this 360. We never gonna be able to make this holy, the bliss marriage, the communication the way we need to be if we both can't meet each other at some point.
Man, we getting that real tonight.
I think the accountability is what I struggle with, because I'm always one to hold myself accountable and anybody in my circle accountable. And I think in marriage, it seems like I'm always apologizing. Never get the apology. How do you keep taking that? Like, God, what do you want me to do? I'm apologizing, still not winning. I'm saying I'm sorry when I know I'm not wrong. I'm dying every day. When am I gonna have to stop dying?
Shannon, let's go. Hold on. I want to go to the coach.
So good. This is so good.
Yeah, I want to go to the coach over here because hold on. Hold time, bro. I know you ready, Crump.
I'm ready to do a workout. I didn't want to do a workout with him before. I want to do a workout with him now.
Yo, we got 76 votes. I want to ask you this, Shannon, because shout out to Andre. He just dropped a $5 super chat. He says, look, anybody who can match Dre, go ahead and drop a $5 super chat. Drop a question. We taking any super chat at $5 or higher, and we asking that question immediately. Shannon, tell us, look, because Rod is saying, I keep getting to the situation where I keep having to be the bigger man. Does a woman have any accountability or responsibility in this situation?
They do, but not yet.
Yeah.
Do you mind? Can I coach you in a minute?
No, 100%.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Get him.
I'm the guy.
You sure?
I'm bringing this conversation up so we can talk this out.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. How long have you been a fitness influencer?
Probably the last 7-8 years.
7 years, and then you played in the league.
I did.
All right, so you played at the highest level.
Yes.
What position did you play?
Receiver.
You're a receiver. Were you good at it?
Yes. Great.
Yes. Okay, great. Okay. So let me ask you a question. I want you to think before you answer the question. Are you as good of a husband as you are a fitness influencer and former NFL player?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you're
and
what?
the reason I say that because I'm still learning. I'm still on this journey. I'm still reading, learning, trying to figure this out. I'm not even close. I don't know if it's 10 years, 20 years into I can say, hey, I've mastered marriage. Or I might never be able to say it, except I can say, man, I've been on this journey for 40 years. And dang it, we done made it.
Okay.
But I'm still learning today.
Okay, so herein lies the problem. And this problem is experienced especially with pastors. But pastors, we look at them operating at the same level you did in the league and in what you do now, but from a spiritual perspective, right?
Yes.
At the moment that our spouses begin to see us apply perfection in other areas of our life, but not in the area of being a husband, that's when they begin to start checking out. They're like, oh, you can you can figure it out with your body. You could have figured it out with your route running and in the league and all of these different things, but you won't take the time to figure it out with me. And so what I do is I always find out what you do for a living when I'm coaching you, because putting it in perspective, I wanted to ask you while you were talking, because you're a beast, bro, for real. I'm no homo, for real. You, like, dog, I walked in and was like, I saw him on Instagram, but dog,
They look right.
right, I'm saying, I'm like, what? But, so let me ask you a question. Considering your current level of fitness,
Yes.
what is your weak link right now?
In fitness or just
In
my
fitness.
My weak link.
Damn.
In fitness?
You got a weakness. You got something.
Damn.
Your elbows ain't what they supposed to be. Your kneecaps, something.
Maybe the knees.
No.
maybe
I'm not
they
talking about things that are going because you're getting older and
Yeah.
the wear and tear. I'm not talking about that. Somewhere on you, when I look at you, you either symmetrically not perfect,
Yes.
something is off. What is that thing for you that you've identified? When you look in the mirror and you're posing, you're like, I don't like that. What is that?
Probably my legs is not as big as my upper body.
Your legs is not as big as your upper body.
They was saying, Raw, you need to do more
Now,
leg day.
when we look at a building mass,
Yes.
what is the one thing you gotta do
To build mass.
to build mass?
We gotta work.
You gotta lift heavy shit, bro.
All day we gotta work hard.
Right?
All
You
day.
just got to.
It's
There's
impossible.
no way you're gonna get around it.
At all.
You gotta do that. And so now apply that same principle to your marriage. You gotta do hard crap. You gotta do stuff that's just like, you gotta be patient. You gotta bring that level of understanding and patience and kindness. The Bible talks about the fruits of the Spirit.
Yes.
Peace, joy, love, kindness. But so that means you can't pop off. Self-control.
100%.
Long suffering. Forbearance.
Come on.
Like, do you know what forbearance? Forbearance is a derivative of patience. While Jersey is popping off. My wife was raised in Jersey, East Orange, Newark,
So you know that.
all them areas.
You know
So
that.
I know the pop off is what she's capable of. You heard her last night. Did you ever hear Shirley like that?
I know.
Have you
I
ever
did it.
seen that in her?
No, but
She liked to fight. No, my wife likes to fight. Like
She
she
ready for it.
like
I
if
told
she,
my wife about it too.
if she gonna be on Instagram or something, I'll be like, babe, I'll be hearing fussing and rustling and running. I'm like, why are you listening to that? That's disturbing my spirit. She like, she like it.
She like it. She ready for it.
So
She
I
ready.
understand the level of, but what they're saying to us is, bring to me the excellence you bring to the world. Until you bring that excellence, I don't want to hear nothing you have to say.
At all.
I don't want to hear nothing you have to say.
And to give you a real testimony, I want to first acknowledge your principle of proclamation. Shout out to Dr. Darius Daniels. But when you said,
Yes.
this is an important principle in marriage, is that when you said the people I talk to, when I'm venting, when I want help, you mentioned pastors, spiritual leaders, men who are married.
Yes. 100%.
That was an important piece to share, that you didn't go to your cousin them, that you didn't go, no disrespect, that you didn't go to your mama, that you didn't go to your auntie, but you vented to men who will hold you accountable to the covering and covenant that you have.
Yes.
But the story I want to give you was, one time me and my wife was bumping heads, and she was like, Chris, you are a great coach. You are a great mentor. You're a great leader. You're a great speaker. But she said, you're bringing me the leftovers. She said, the only problem I had, you didn't marry the school system. You didn't marry the people. You didn't marry the basketball as much as you love it. Only person you married was me. And so that energy of not feeling like a priority is one thing to be valued. But in a covenant, I need to be a priority. And I wanted to share one thing that had an aha for me, and I think will help you, is when I accepted my wife's humanity. That was a big shift for me mentally. That when I realized I just didn't marry her dreams, but I married her demons. And not only did she not only marry my dreams, but she married my demons. And when I accepted her humanity, it helped me to pull off the imposter syndrome and Superman complex where I'm trying to like, yeah, I'm him and I got it and you good. And I went to apologize to my wife right at the pandemic. And we sitting down, we locked in the crib. I said, baby, I apologize. I set you up to make you feel like I'll always have your back and I'll always be there and I'll always solve your problems. I lied. I won't. I won't always do that. I will always be committed to you. Everything else, go to God. Go to God first. You and God work it out. But I apologize. For years, I set up a narrative like I will always figure it out. I will always be able to do this. I don't know. I know I'm going to keep trying. That's all I can tell you. And it took me a while to get to a level of honesty within myself because I had an image of what that needs to look like. If you married to me, this is how we rolling. If you married to me, it's a different breed. But when I stopped thinking about my wife and I started loving Nicole, everything changed. Because in my mind, when you my wife, you have to act a certain way. You have to talk a certain way. You have to walk a certain way. And I dismiss subconsciously your humanity. But when I acknowledge Nicole and everything that comes with her, I love her. I also accept everything that's with her. And I learn to be naturally, as a human being, more patient, considerate, empathetic. You know what I'm saying? But if you have to be my wife, you have to be certain things in my head that I haven't really articulated to you, but I'm processing it. You know, why ain't no food here? How come the house ain't clean? How come you ain't giving up every night, at least every other? You know what I'm saying? How you ain't really popping off because I worked all day. I need you. And I was like, nah, you ain't seeing her humanity. As I saw her humanity, that's when things started. For me personally, it didn't happen in my marriage, but it happened with my spirit, my energy, the way I'm showing up. That's when things started to shift as far as the narrative I kept telling myself. You know what I mean? And I want to share that with you.
Man, the common thing I keep hearing all y'all brothers saying is the commitment. Like the commitment that you guys made. And the fact that really, it seems like for all of you brothers, divorce is not an option. But see, the thing about it is, I notice it's levels to commitment.
Come on.
It really is levels to commitment because I think everybody thinks that they're committed before they get into marriage until they get tested. But I do think that at some levels, and you let me know as a coach, I do believe like at some levels there might be some things that just might be too much. There might be some things or some people you just may have to part ways from. And I want to go back to you here with this because I want to know, are there some moments, experiences, situations, or people just in marriage period that we need to actually be seriously considering divorce, or should that never be an option on the table?
It should never be an option on the table. Never. And there'll be, there's probably going to be folks in the chat, right? There's supposed to be a whole bunch of folks that's like, what about?
They're going to bring up abuse, they're going to bring up cheating, they're going to bring up
abuse, they're going to bring up cheating, right?
It's the same thing over and over again to try to validate why you should be able to walk away.
Well, they thinking about it. I'm ending this poll at 96 votes. Didn't quite get to 100, guys. But have you ever considered a divorce? 65% of the 96 voters said absolutely. Yes.
Right.
So I think they're going to be receptive of this.
So I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. At no point in time did I say, I'm just going to die. When I got to, like, there are people, you could probably, I don't know them personally, but I'm quite sure that there are people that sat and got that diagnosis from the doctor and then went and blew their brains out. But my constitution said, okay, well, what do I got to do? I got to change my diet. I went on a 43-day juice fast. I stopped eating meat. I did stop eating meat.
Come on.
That was different.
I was a carnivore's carnivore.
Yeah.
Right? So me stop eating meat, that's miracle territory.
Come on.
But, I was at a barbecue yesterday, and thank God there were Beyond Meat, burgers, and sometimes I eat a little salmon, but not all the time. It's not a regular thing. So there's this idea that we are not able to handle certain things, but the human spirit is resilient. Rod can tell you, he's probably had people that's like, I just can't do it. I don't know how to do it. But if they put their minds and really set themselves like, this is going to be, there is no going back to the 300 pounds. The sister that you were talking about, there's no going back to the 300 pounds for her. She's at 150 now, and you said you're taking her down to 120. 100%. She's not going back at all. And once you fix it in your mind that you are not going back, I don't care what it is. See, as a Christian, I have to believe that miracles are possible. In my own strength, in my own flesh, is it possible?
Impossible.
No. Is it possible? Absolutely not. But I gotta believe that miracles happen, else I gotta throw away my whole belief system. I can't believe in Christ anymore if miracles aren't possible. But you can't win a game that you quit. You can't win a game that you quit. Now, you know, the Eagles really didn't follow suit like they're supposed to, right? But you get my point.
Yeah, but even following Shannon, I think a lot of us brothers, we really 100% love unconditionally with our wives.
Yes.
Like, we gonna rock to the end. That's why 8 out of 10 is the women divorce. The scary part is what it looks like when you have no say-so in it. What it looks like when you're doing everything possible and you're praying every day and you're still not getting the results, the love, the wife that you desire, and she's still contemplating divorce, and she actually go to the table and she actually serve you papers. What do you do then? Because a lot of us brothers talking about when we in control. 8 out of 10 marriages is a woman divorcing.
Right.
We don't talk about that. We want to talk about the man walk away. Every brother I know that's divorced, he didn't walk away. Because a brother can't take that. Because one thing about it, a man leaving, we get crucified. You abandon your family, you abandon your kid. How can you?
How could you?
Women walk away, oh, he must be one doing something right. She wasn't happy. She's seeking her happiness. She's looking for something else. He wasn't that guy. And they get a pass. We don't get a pass. So that's why we going to rock till the wheels fall off. But how do we keep our wives from going to the table? How do we stop them from going to filing papers? What do you do? See, that's the big question I think most people won't understand, because sometimes we not the ones initiating the divorce. We not the ones quitting. How do we get our wives?
But we're not the ones, right? We're not the ones obviously quitting.
Obviously.
Right? Like it's not as a parent.
Yes.
But the quitting happens when we don't bring our best selves. And here's the challenge that I've discovered. The challenge is, and I have to keep referencing my Christian background, from a Christian construct, submission is not natural for a woman.
Wow. Hold on. Wait. Break that down.
Women were meant to rule beside us.
Yes.
And to help us.
And
They were, but in that helping, it was a co-relationship. We were here, right? From a Christian construct, when sin entered the picture, when you see how God was doling out the punishment, he said, women, your desire will be for your husband. That inference of desire is not, ooh, I want you, baby, I want you. No, you will seek to be back in the position that you were initially designed to be in. But the Bible says he will lord over you. So now they're in an unnatural position of following instead of ruling beside. To the point that when you go down to, I think it's in Ephesians, I don't know, I'm not a chapter and verse guy, but it's somewhere in the book, read it, right? It says, submit yourselves one to another at the beginning of this particular passage, right? But down further, it says, why husbands love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave his life for it. Yes. Then it says, wives respect your husbands. Why, or submit to your husband. Why did he have to repeat it to the wife? Right? So he said it, submit yourselves one to another. So act like you were supposed to when you were created in the beginning. Yes. But let me remind you, Eve, you have to submit because it's not natural to you. So if you come from that mindset that she's already operating outside of what she was designed, her OEM, original equipment manufacturers,
100%.
Once your wife, she knows she is naturally wired that she is supposed to be beside you.
Yes.
And it sounds cute, but there's a submission. There is a pecking order that unfortunately exists, and they don't want to live to that. And we can't accept our role now And we enter into spaces from a leadership perspective that we are now in our marriages void of leadership, void of that submission. Love your wives as Christ loved the church. Let me ask you guys a question. Who killed Christ?
Rhetorical?
No, it's not rhetorical. I mean, I'm going to put you on the spot, but like, you guys have heard, at least you've been around Easter or whatever.
Yeah.
You heard the crucifixion story.
Yeah.
The Romans nailed him to the
Romans nailed him to the cross.
Who killed Christ?
It wasn't the Romans?
It was not the Romans.
The church.
It was the church. So husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church
Oh, and the church definitely
and gave his life for it.
You have
That means love the very thing that seeks to kill you.
Yes.
It was the church in the courtyard yelling, crucify him. It wasn't the Romans. The Romans was like, I don't see no fault in this man. What do you want to do with Barabbas? Give us Barabbas. Well, what do you want us to do with Jesus? Crucify him. That was the church that did that.
So does that mean that when you bring that example, does that mean that a woman should be staying in is that your justification of her being able to stay in a relationship regardless?
No, that's a justification for understanding the paradigm of what Rod said about the wife just leave. Like, why would she do that to me?
Yes.
She's supposed to do that to you. She's wired to do that to you. She's wired to hurt you in such a way, but now she is commanded, no, submit to him.
Yes.
Give yourself over to him in ways, trust him. And what we find is that I can't speak for nobody else. I wasn't trustworthy enough.
Yes.
And so my wife should have left me. It is only by the grace of God that she stayed. She should have left me when I was in inappropriate relationships with women. She should have left me when I kept watching porn and she was letting me know, this is hurting me, this is tearing me apart. She just kept, but I couldn't stop. I didn't want to stop. I didn't want to remove that salve. And so these justifications that come up, we got to be able to put that stuff to the side and say, you know something? What I'm going to simply focus on is being what God called me to be in this marriage. And I'm going to have to let you worry about what you're called to be in this marriage.
And I think our biggest issue with me bringing that up was, as men, we can't worry about that. As men, we have to cover our wives regardless.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we have to be obedient to Christ and what he asks us to do regardless. If I ask you to love her like Christ loved the church, then Rod, even in her weakest moments, you have to cover her.
When
You
she's
have to
cussing
love
you
her.
out.
You have to love her.
When she's knocking you upside your head.
And
No,
you
I'm
have
saying
to
protect yourselves at all times.
Yeah.
Right?
But I think that's one way in which, as men, we grow in marriage. Meaning, I understand that God, I have an obedience to you. I have to obey you. I have to stand in the gap for my wife regardless.
And I think it's fundamental narratives that we still challenge with. Like, so when I said, and she was called to help him, like, God didn't see a woman and say, man, she needs help. God saw a man and said, he needs help. And provided him with a woman who was really like, she's incubator ready. Like, whatever you got, I'm gonna make it work, baby. No matter what you're dealing with, I'm gonna make it work. But when you look at the process, when you talk about as women leaving 8 out of 10, yes, but did we start the foundation with God?
True.
So I tell people all the time, like, when you start with confusion, you end with chaos. So you have to get to a place as a man who's the responsible steward over the situation and say, you know what? We started this way wrong. Like, I was on like your body. I was on like your head. I was on like, you should be after me. I should get the baddest because I got money. I got clout. A lot of your reason, your motives, wasn't because you wanted to honor God's daughter. That wasn't why you did this. You had a selfish reason. So the only thing I could say as a coach of men, why, even though 8 out of 10 women leave, when I ask my brothers who are in divorce, I ask them this one question. Could you have done anything differently? Could you have changed? Every single brother I've asked.
Every.
Like, yeah, bro. When I think about it, sometimes I need some time because the first year they don't even want to talk about it. But you go to them, they be like, to be honest with you, Crump, I I could have did some things differently. She was wrong. She didn't have to do. She went left. But when I look back, there were some things said and done that really I could have changed that.
That's almost
Now,
always too.
For those men, how would you know if it's at the breaking point or if it's just a rough patch?
Bruh, but here's the thing. It's always in that, because this is what I wanted to share earlier when y'all was going back and forth. Like, think about the commitment you're making when it comes to a covenant relationship as it relates to the only vow you're going to make on earth as a human being, right? You're saying you're the one person to the day I die that I'm going to love unconditionally. There's only one way that you can prove that, is that person never meets all your conditions. So you have publicly declared and accepted, I already know you're never going to meet my conditions.
And no matter what.
And I've already publicly declared, no matter what, I'm always going to love you regardless. You're the one person I'm going to do that for.
But see, can
That's
a
why
woman,
them vows, people don't be paying attention to them vows, man.
But does a woman really love a man unconditionally though? Like, that's the thing. Like, because we
Does
I
one,
understand.
or can she?
No.
She can.
She
But
definitely can.
Bruh, it's hard.
Is it unconditional?
She
Because
can.
it seems like, what it seems like, you just stated that 8 out of 10 of women are actually going and filing divorce, and because it seems like he is not meeting the conditions of what he needs to be performing at as a man and as a
100%.
husband. So is it really unconditional if it's based on our performance?
Well,
That's conditional.
Well, let
That is
me say this.
conditional.
Let me say this. As humans, that term unconditional love is cute. None of us understand it.
No,
Does it exist?
I don't agree with that, Shannon, because at the end
Does
of the
it
day,
exist?
if you take a woman and say, love me like you love our daughter, love me like you love our son, you ain't gonna never ever hold me fault. You're not gonna ever remember my mistakes. You're gonna always give me a break, a pass. You're gonna always see the good in me regardless. Our kids get it all the time.
They're capable of it.
They're capable of it.
They're capable
They
of
can
it.
lie today, get a whooping tomorrow. Baby.
I have not seen it exist.
I have never seen it.
Let me get my full context. I'm making a vow to try with this one person.
Yes.
I'm making a vow
Right.
every single day.
The best effort.
To try. Knowing, because I'm human, not because I don't want to, not like fundamentally, it's just the human nature in me. I'm going to fall short on the regular. But my commitment to one person is I'm going to try to do that with you, with everything I got. And I'm every day. One thing that helped me was when you start to look at one situation, you ain't getting on for a day, you ain't getting on for a week, you start compiling that mentally in your head, it starts to create spirit and energy in you. Whereas I was like, love, joy, peace, patience, long-suffering, kindness, it lasts a day. It only lasts a day. The home runs you hit was for this game. You got to get right back up. So so whatever we celebrated, whatever we break through, I've accepted. That was for today. It has no more weight on outside. I have to wake right back up and generate a certain
And ball
energy.
out tomorrow.
And ball out tomorrow.
But see, I think that is what's also, I don't know if men really understand that, because marriage requires, especially from what y'all are communicating here, such excellence of men. Like, it really is excellence. It really is improving every single day in probably your weakest areas as a man. Every single day. It's not you just walking into it and you are the person that you were when you started and you just stay this person.
No.
Because that dude is going to get left in dust.
Yeah, she's walking
It's
off on that.
you literally evolving and transforming into this man. I think that's the condition. The condition is the evolution into that next man.
Yes.
Into that better man.
Marriage
And I don't know if men
vows-
understand that.
And marriage, when you really think of it, when you got up on that stage in front of that pastor, your parents, everything, the covenant was for both of y'all to die that day and create something new. Everything that you were should have died that day, and y'all should have created something new in Christ. And I feel like as men, every day we have to die to self, to show up for our wives, to show up for our kids. We got to put that flesh to bed every day, because that man will show up all the time. And I think where we fall short, and I know I do, even in my spiritual walk, when we need God for something, ooh, we so diligent and we so committed to praying every day, all night, all morning, giving God the glory, worship music every day. Fasting. As soon as we get it, all of a sudden, why you not praying the same, bro?
Right.
Yeah.
Why am I not still giving God the same glory I was giving him 2 weeks ago? I think I find myself have been doing that with my wife. When we in a rut, I'm on point. I'm praying, God, please help us get anointed, man. The devil is a lie. Deliver us, give us divine intervention. You know, spiritual warfare is at hand. But then as soon as she come out,
But when you're good,
when we good, I'm getting the love and the action. All of a sudden, I'm good. Now I'm not giving the same effort I was when we wasn't good. And I think that's where a lot of us fall short, while we find ourselves in the same cycle. Because if you put that same effort and commitment to Christ and walking out every day with that, if you gave your wife that same attention that you did when she was tripping, you probably would be out of half of what you. Not saying it's still not going to happen, but you see what I'm saying? If you grab your wife's hand and pray with her every night, every morning, if you tell her how much you love her every day, we won't do that when it's good. But we'll do it when we're in a rut. We'll go get flowers today.
But
tomorrow.
But here's the beauty. The beauty of that is it builds stronger relationships.
Yes.
Right. So just like I keep referring to you, but it just makes so much sense to me now with kind of how I've been thinking about marriage and the state of marriage. Right. It was probably not good. What's your cycle like? You train a certain amount of time, and then you take a break. What's that cycle look like for you?
Keep it 100. My cycle is I probably train 6-7 days straight, 1 day of rest.
1 day of rest.
1 day of rest.
But now, do you have like let's say you're working on a particular area, so you'll work maybe 90 days or 60 days, and then you'll kind of, so you won't plateau, you might take a rest for recovery?
No.
You don't do that?
I don't do that.
That's why you look how you look. Okay. All right. But there's got to be some rest. There's got to be some ebb and flow.
Rest, you take it when my rest is when my body tells me it needs rest.
Right,
but
okay.
to me, if I wake up
There's
in the
no-
morning full of energy, blessed, wake
You're
up.
going to get it.
I'm going to get it.
Are you going to get it?
100%.
So there's this ebb and flow that has to kind of take place. And it's for you to grow, you have to experience some sort of taxing, some sort of work, you're not going to get better. So if it's just always good and always blissful and always, everything is always perfect, well, where's the growth in that?
None.
There is no growth in that.
challenge.
There's no growth. And so, who was it that said, without struggle, there is no progress? We have to go through, and then there's no juxtaposition. The only reason why we know what up is because we understand what down is. You would not understand what up is. You wouldn't understand the highest, most beautiful, wonderful, amazing if you had not experienced the most horrible, unforgivable, whatever depths. So that juxtaposition exists. And it must exist for us to at least be able to have a contrast and understand. It's like if I look at Chris, I understand what out of shape looks like.
Dang.
And then I look at Rob and I see what in shape looks like. It's like it's this contrast.
Wait, hold on. We going too crazy right now, guys. We just 2 minutes over 1 hour, over 300 people in the live room right now. So we going crazy.
Are you serious?
It's over 300 people in here right now. It's going crazy live, but this is the thing, because the comments is going insane. But we got a special lady. We got to switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm gonna let y'all whoever want to volunteer to take this one. But they're like, we got these 3 handsome men. They talking about staying down with their wives even when they acting a fool.
Yeah.
So my question, shout out to Nicole, dropped a $20 super chat.
Come on, Nicole.
She says, guys, advice for the single ladies looking for a God-centered relationship. What kind of game? Because look, y'all some husbands. She trying to get one. What can she do?
What's the question again?
She said, give her some advice.
Some game.
Give
Give
some
her some
advice
advice for a woman looking for a God-centered relationship.
First things first. Keep your legs closed.
Ooh, they ain't gonna like that one. They ain't gonna like that one.
Wait a minute, bro. Go ahead. We're just going straight to Ron after that.
Keep your legs closed, and while dating, keep your hands above the neck. Start there.
Above the neck?
Yes.
Now, fellas,
It's nothing going on. It's not. You don't need to have no action going on
Rub my
below. Hey, get down with them earlobes. I don't care what you do, but because see, this is the problem. As soon we talked about this. As soon as you introduce sex, now you're a crackhead. Outside of marriage, inside of marriage, it's good and wonderful and healthy and helps you grow. Outside of marriage, you can't think straight. You can't make no logical decisions when he giving you that good, long, good. You can't think straight.
Let's go into that. I want y'all to listen. In the description, each of these guys' Instagram profiles is in the description. Make sure to click those links. Follow these guys. Send them a message if you getting value. And right now, guys, I want you to drop a preach in the chat. Drop a preach in the chat if these guys are giving it to you. And I want to go to Rod and Chris on this. I mean, Shannon is advising the single ladies to keep it closed.
Keep it closed.
But I mean, is that realistic?
I can tell he ain't like that.
Oh, go ahead. You can go first.
Ryan don't never like that question. Ryan is always like, "Is that realistic?"
What I heard Rob earlier, I can relate. I think this is why when you guys were saying, man, how can it's like having men like this had this conversation, because a lot of times people don't even know that you're in this space, that you're doing these things. But when Rob said, yeah, we try to do this thing right, even when I was courting with my woman, we was like, let's practice abstinence. We did the same thing. Me and my wife did the same thing. It's like, we trying to go for real? Let's not have sex, to make sure we love each other and not our bodies. Especially if you got back then, you know what I'm saying? I can't speak
right now. It's not relevant now.
But back at my hooping days, you know what I mean? Like physically, you could be distracted from that. You know what I mean? What you thinking is connection, and nah. You know what I mean? Like the sex is good, and the sex got you like, now you're vulnerable, now you're jokey, now you're ready to serve, because got served. You know what I'm saying? So your energy is different. But if we don't have sex, and now we just gotta talk, and now I gotta ask questions. Now we starting to really figure out. I don't know. Whereas you need that practice of abstinence. Like even if you was in something and you was engaged, like we was engaged sexually, but we was like, we want God to honor our marriage. So let's Now I shot in the abstinence season. So you said keep it a buck.
Keep it a buck.
It was like a year and a half. I shot like 95%. I didn't shoot 100%, but we really worked. We both was committed, and that tells me something about her. You know what I'm saying? Like going back to being logical. If I'm in my 20s, it's different now. People's 30s, 40s, everybody. But I'm thinking about 60 years with you. I have to think about what type of dog you ought to carry this thing out for a half a century plus with me, and sex ain't gonna be enough.
Yeah.
Rod, you agree?
But even on the flip side of that, I always get that question when women always approach me like, Rod, I want a man like you. Rod, how do I find a God-fearing man? Honestly, man, any advice I can give you is, are you a God-fearing woman? Do you deserve a God-loving man? Are you obedient to God's will? Are you obedient? Are you walking that out? Because first you got to work on yourself. Before God bless you with somebody that's on that level, are you ready for it? Because all of us want something, but in the reality is, are we ready for it? But if you spiritually in tune, you practicing abstinence, you walking with God, being obedient, you asking God every day to bless you with this amazing man. One thing about it, God will hear your prayers if you're actually being obedient to what he's asking of you. Because one thing about it, before he gonna take 2 steps, you got to take 1.
And he's not
Nicole,
going to give you nothing you're not ready for.
What they said, Nicole.
He's not going to give you nothing you're not ready for.
You're going to have to take that first step. You're going to have to sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice to get that man?
Rod, look, I'm looking at Nicole's profile pic. We can study together. Okay? We can study. We can get that together, baby.
I want y'all to know. We shooting shots in here tonight, and I want y'all to know if y'all want some if y'all want to hop in this conversation, send a super chat, because we will be answering the super chats tonight. So y'all go ahead and keep those flowing, because we want you guys involved in this conversation.
My.
All right, now I gotta take it another direction here, guys, because we started off the conversation talking about moments that pushed us to the edge, moments that may have pushed us to places where we literally considered leaving the marriage altogether.
Yeah.
Now I kind of want to talk about actually navigating that space when you really in there, really sitting in that spot.
In which spot?
In the spot of being on the brink.
Oh, being on the brink. Okay.
Being in the brink, considering going ahead and jumping ship altogether, right? Because it's probably some people right now watching this that's in that spot with the person that they in a relationship with. And you, for example, everybody has a different way to cope with feeling this way. Everybody has, they might go to their vices. I don't know. Hopefully they go into the gym. They might be even stepping out and going to another young woman or another man. That's just what it is. And you, for example, I don't know, for people who missed it at the beginning, y'all better go back and watch this, because you detailed how when you entered this place, altogether you were just fed up.
Yes, sir.
Because you went ahead, completely left your household.
Yes, sir.
You went ahead and started living with another, was it going ahead living with another woman?
In a relationship, yeah. But
in a full-blown
living.
Relationship, potentially looking at taking on the kids and the family.
No, we
of
was
this
taking
other
them on.
woman.
We was talking about, the conversations were all leading to, I hadn't proposed yet, but the conversation I was still married. So I couldn't do any of that. So no, I had turned my back on not on my boys, but on my wife and my marriage.
So it sounds like when you got pushed to that place, the first thing you thought was, I need to go get me another woman. That was your thought process in that point, in that place.
Yes, because the Bible says it's not good that man be alone. No. I was trying to say, did I go searching? But of course I went searching, because she didn't just fall in my lap. I had to go looking. But yeah, because I knew this wasn't it. I knew I wanted to be married, and I wanted to be in a committed relationship, and I wanted to be happy and build something. It just clearly was not with Shirley at the time. So yeah. To answer your question, part of your question, yes.
No, I get it. And see, I can imagine, I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yes.
When they are feeling like you're in a relationship but still alone.
Yes.
You still earn that companionship.
I was lonely, bro. I was hurting. I was just like, I just wanted to be loved. And I saw how my boys was being treated, how she was just loving on them and doting on them. And like you said, they could do no wrong. They could do all kind of, man. I mean, they were young then, they were kids. But it was like, and I told her, I said, if you loved me like you love them, you wouldn't have nowhere close to the problems you have with me. So I was in a very low. I wasn't just trying to be freaky and just trying to find someone. No, I invested time and effort into this, and it just didn't seem like it was going anywhere. And it was just like, oh man, I just want to be able to enjoy what this thing is supposed to be, not knowing what this thing what I was experiencing was necessary for me to enjoy what this thing became.
So would you say that situation, the infidelity, actually helped you get closer to your wife?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Wow.
In ways
that is
like
crazy.
because what God did, He used that situation to reveal that the grass is not greener on the other side. If you fertilize it and aerate it and seed it and cut it and edge it, your grass gonna be green too. And water it, your grass gonna be real green. If you do those things. So what I had done, which I didn't see, is I had stopped the very things that I did to nurture this new situation. I had stopped doing with Shirley. So
it's the same word.
Now, but here this new woman was like, "Oh my God, you're so amazing, you're wonderful." Whereas before Shirley was like, "Oh my God," but I had gotten so complacent. I was not bringing my best I wasn't bringing my best to me being a husband. And then what's the saying? How you do one thing is how you do everything.
Do everything, right.
Like I wasn't disciplined. And one thing, like just real, like a little, like not a tangent, but a little sidebar. When she was watching me refuse to give up pornography, she saw me as an undisciplined man.
Yes.
And so she could not fully give herself to a man that was that undisciplined, because she had been molested. And if the person that was molesting her didn't have the discipline to not do that to a little girl, then here now her husband is now doing things, and she's like, stop doing that. And I'm like, nah, I was just abusing her over and over and over again. So she was bound to withdraw from me. It was just a matter of not if she was going to, but when she was. And so I began to learn things.
Man. So strong.
Wow.
I was a horrible husband. I was horrible, man. And all she wanted was to be loved herself. And I denied her that for so many years. And it's the biggest regret of my life. But thank God that, time does not heal all wounds, but it heals all scars. We gave ourselves the time. And once we gave ourselves that time, now, the song playing in the house is when you think, drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot. Like she's giving herself to me in ways now that I'm like, whoa, I don't even know if I can handle this.
Wow.
Because she's now loving me in a way, and I tell men this all the time. You think you want to leave, you think you want to go find someone else, you think the grass is greener on the other side, but if you give her enough time, the woman that you want is going to show up. But you better be ready for her. You better be ready for her. And what I found was I was not ready for Shirley when she showed up as the woman that I wanted. So I had to get my game together quick. And by God's grace, man, we've come to this point where now we can help other couples.
Yes. And that's so amazing because you hear Shannon talk, and the testimony is what we all need. And at the end of the day, the testimony do not come without trials and tribulations. It's not going to happen. The testimony is only real when you go through something. And we have to be willing, men and women, to go through the fire, to keep falling and keep failing, but our faith can't whip. We cannot let our faith be tested. You got to always keep the faith, man. But God, it's a process, man. We have to go through the process of understanding God is preparing us for something greater. But how is he going to give us that if we're not going through the journey and being prepared? How, if I can't handle my wife now, how am I going to be able to minister to these brothers 10 years from now? How am I going to be able to love her when she's 40 and going through something else, or whatever it is, or whatever blessing that he has for our marriage, to be able to save other marriages and other kingdoms if we don't have a testimony to say, hey man, we went through this storm and I swear to God, we came out the other side. And the only reason we came out the other side because our faith didn't wither and we stayed in the fight. My wife hated me, but I stayed. I did not leave. My wife, hopefully she can say the same thing. My husband was a horrible husband. He was not empathetic. He didn't have no compassion, but I never gave up on him. And at some point in time, I spoke to the king that I wanted him to be and not to the fool he was at that moment.
And the king he became.
And the king he became.
Did you find yourself at that point in time when you was at that place? Did you find yourself also kind of veering off, whether that was, in other relationships or your thoughts going off into other women or just even other habits that you weren't proud of at that point in time?
I can say mine probably was my pride set in to where my heart got cold, to where at the end of the day, I didn't want to put the effort in because I felt like she wasn't being accountable for the part she played in this. So why am I going to keep stepping out, getting my head chopped off if you're not willing to step out on this ledge with me? But at that point in time, that's when I think I got closer to God and kept understanding, like, Rod, at the end of the day, your sacrifice. Don't worry about what she do. Give her to me. At that point in time, God, you got her. At whatever point you deal with her or whatever happened, but I know I got to be obedient to you. And if I be obedient to you, then at the end of the day, I truly believe that you're going to save this marriage and you're going to keep us growing and we're going to be that testimony that you can use to save other marriages. That's how now I think we've reached to a point where our influence is where it's at, because I always show the real. I don't never act like our marriage is crazy. I tell people all the time, my wife don't like me right now. She's not, my wife, honestly, she's not talking to me right now.
Right.
This is real, y'all.
Right now, she's not speaking to me not one bit. And at the end of the day, I have to just be like, man, God, whatever you asking for me in this moment, I'm here for you. Whatever you need from me. If me coming to this podcast telling other brothers, man, I'm going through the same struggle you're going through with all these muscles, it don't mean nothing. They still not gonna talk to you. They still gonna put you through here. Right. No matter how many abs you got, you gonna catch that smoke all the time. Yo. So in the day, I just want to talk brothers off the ledge and be like, brother, it's okay because we all going through it. Yeah. Ladies, it's okay. my wife got me, and y'all look at me, and I swear she don't like me, so it don't matter. You just gotta speak. You just gotta speak.
The grass is not greener on the other
We all
side.
going through the same trials and tribulations.
I love
we
it,
just
man.
gotta stay in the fight.
I love
We
it,
gotta
man.
stay in the fight, man.
I had something I wanted to share just for Nicole, man. This is awesome.
And listen, before you say Nicole just joined the YouTube membership.
Come on.
Welcome to the family, baby.
tonight.
Welcome to the family, baby.
Guys, we need 100 members. We got about 18 more days left.
Wait a
We
minute.
need 100 members.
You're Nicole?
Join
No.
the YouTube membership.
But that's why I'm because I wanted
Talk to
add
Nicole.
some value. But her question, because I know you guys have a female based audience, to know when you said, are you a woman of God? Are you that? Because it's important to understand how men think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but like when we put women in categories, and let's say a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being wifey, 1 being thotty.
Wifey thotty, okay.
And we grade you and observe you on a regular. There's nothing extra you really have to do. Like, we're always observing. I think women don't realize that's why a woman who's on social media taking advantage of it, their OnlyFans account, or they can take advantage of guys watching, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like when you're struggling to find that, remember, we're always watching, we're always ranking. The question is, how are you being perceived? How are you showing up in a way? So sometimes if you're not getting it and guys are pitching you a certain way, from a man's perspective, not from probably your heart's intent, but from a man's perspective, I don't see you like that. And maybe that's a hard conversation to have. Maybe not. I don't know her personally, but I'm just saying, I know when I saw my wife, I knew okay, she's a wifey, but I ain't ready. I'm outside. So it was like her behavior, her demeanor, especially athletes, you don't want to see nobody trying to be extra attention, laughing, hold on to your arm. I'm like, okay, anyway, I want to see somebody who moves a certain way, who acts a certain way, who talks a certain way, who's meekness, you know what I'm saying? So it's important for her, when she asked that, I just wanted to add that. Not that I don't know her whole circumstance, but just know how men think. Am I making sense?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Nick's got to be able to understand just where she fits in the grand scheme of things as it relates to manhood, as it relates to dealing with manhood, right? And there's a certain kind of approach that if you're not together, if you're not right, what kind of woman are you? Then it's really very difficult to have a man identify you as something valuable potentially to him.
Yeah, and let me tell you why. Because I was hood ratchet. I was Debo Slivers, basketball and one, wife beater with an afro pick in my hair. She brought this out of me. A good woman would actually bring that godly version of you. She actually brought it out of me because I couldn't keep her. I couldn't stay with her. I couldn't grow with being him. I had to be the best version of me to even, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I shared that.
First of all, I want to say, big shout out to Lala Bradford in the chat.
What it do?
Lala just dropped in the chat.
What's up, Lala?
And we
Big
got
shout
something
out.
crazy. We got Larry Love Jr. 82. Okay, so the fellas is checking in.
Okay, all right,
Now,
Larry Love.
Larry dropped a
Fellas.
$25 super chat.
Come on,
Okay.
man.
He says, I hate going through the storm with a woman.
Come on.
I'm single and 41 with no kids. I get married. Married women approaching me, which makes me scared to get married. I get it. So he gets women who are already actively engaged in a committed relationship or a marriage. So that's making him a little bit apprehensive. I mean, what would you guys say to that? He's 41 with no kids, and he seems to be looking.
What's that first part of what he said though? You said
He
he's in
hates going through the storm with women.
going through the
Going through
storm.
the storm.
Well, I mean, you must have missed the first part of this.
Right.
Larry, the storm is coming.
No, he's coming, brother.
And you want the storm to come. The Bible says that our trials come to make us stronger, but nobody ever asked stronger for what. And you alluded to something, Rod, like when you were sharing, bro. You was just talking about what would come down the road. So your trials only come to make you stronger. Is that makes me believe that it's something coming down the road that I need to be stronger for.
100%.
Life is always going to life. So when I met my wife, we had to go through the things that we went through. We had to go through the storms that we went through because we didn't know. And in 2000, and I share this often because it's a part of our story. In 2016, diagnosed with carcinoid cancer in my lung. In 2018, diagnosed with congestive heart failure. In 2020, 2020, diagnosed with prostate cancer. We didn't know that 2-year gauntlet we were going to experience that. So imagine if we had not got our reps in. Imagine if we had not
You wouldn't have been
experienced trials and then now, almost 2 years later from my cancer diagnosis, my mother-in-law dies. So there's these kind of storms that are just coming, that they're going to come in waves. If you ever pay attention to your map, your weather map, and if you zoom out to see more of the world, it's storms constantly coming off the west coast of Africa. Constantly. But people in Bermuda and the Bahamas and Jamaica, they don't leave because they're prepared for the storm, because they've experienced the storm. They're not running from the storms. They hitting them storms head on. So if he wants to actually move towards a solid relationship with a woman that loves him and he can love, then he can't run away from the storm. No. He has to embrace. He has to lean in, steer into it, and ride it out.
Yes. And this fear, let me tell y'all, amongst the guys, especially the men in this culture right now, all of the talk around marriage is completely fear-based.
Let me tell you
all of it is fear-based.
Let me tell you what that speaks to. The weakness in you. Because if you're here, we all on earth to be served, to be a servant to others. We all here to feed, to speak fruit, to speak life into others, to let others see the kingdom of God in them, to experience God through them. But as men, I don't look at any other brother until you get into this married life and you willing to sacrifice and your whole life is on serving somebody else. I don't think you ever experience what a real man is, because until you're able to only worry about those kids, your wife, always serving them, always protecting them, always sacrificing for them, then what are you doing? You self-serving.
Hold on. Let me make sure I got this right, because you said some real deep just now.
I think you tried to sneak that one in there.
Did you just say that if a man does not achieve marriage, that he will never become a real man?
To me, you won't, because at the end of the day, our job is to create family.
It's not possible.
Wow. What do you get? What at the end of the day, if I never got married, if I never have a wife, family, building a legacy, anything else, I'm on this earth just to serve myself, get as much happiness, gain as much materialistic thing as possible, then die. What was that of me?
Wow.
Would you ever go at my funeral or put a mural up of me for that?
Nope.
Never.
Nope.
You would never care about that. But a man who sacrificed his whole life, a man who served others his whole life, a man who served his family, the world, generations, helped save others and been there, those are the men that you look to.
That's the legacy.
And those are the men you always seek to get wisdom, understanding from, because you see the sacrifice. But a man who only want to serve himself, who are you really?
I'm about to get me a goddamn wife.
Come on, wifey. Killing it.
I'm just keeping it 100.
Come on, wifey.
That's real.
This is the best. I'm about to cuss. This is the best chat we have ever had. It's crazy. That was some great advice from all y'all, from Larry. Shout out to Julie Sakala, sent over a super chat. Shout out to Wife, who's a YouTube member, sending over a $20 super chat.
Wife.
And she just want to say, this is beautiful. I needed to know men were having these conversations. Shout out to WIFE. Shout out to Sheila with the super chat. She says, I really wish you guys were around 2 years, around 2 year ago before I walked away from my marriage. So we're about 2 years late on Sheila, but Sheila, shout out to you. But that next one,
Sheila could go back.
We're going to get you right.
Sheila could go back.
Hold on, wait. Lala actually asked the question. We didn't get her question before. I want to get this. She says here, advice for a high-value woman who desires a high-value man. I find myself downgrading my standards in hopes of a man elevating to my level. Can somebody give her some advice of a woman who says she is downgrading her standards.
That's loaded. That's a loaded
Downgrading
comment
her
right there.
standards in hopes of a man elevating to her level. Now, here's what's interesting. You said that you was the ratchet hood rat, picking the head, you know, and one slippers, right? Probably holding your drawers, kind of dude. I had that last one. So, can we make a good argument that your wife at the time may have downgraded to you and kind of helped elevate it at that point?
Yeah, for sure. And I was just ambitious. I came from sharecroppers. I didn't have, when she met me, I was 18 years old. So I was green as grass. I was ambitious. I could take on the whole world. But she was 2 years older. She had already dated older guys. But I was like, I'm him. I had the confidence galore. I had one good thing, I could hoop. And I'm ambitious. Everything else came later. So when we talk about value, for me, I'm sitting in a different seat. You know what I mean? Because I also can say, because of my commitment, me and my wife coached each other these past 22 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gave her some game on like what it's really like in the real world, because I came from that. She was a Catholic girl from a private school. You know what I mean? So she didn't really know like what the culture really is like in these streets. And I'm like, I'll give you some game on that. She's like, well, let me show you how to write a proper email. You know what I'm saying? Because I was finessing, cheating all through school. So it was like, I needed somebody to show me how to, you know what I'm saying? So like we was coaching each other that, but man, when she met me, but I had drive, I had ambition, and I'm a test of what it looks like over time, not what it looked like when I got it.
So is it safe to say that a woman should be open to getting a fixer-upper or a guy who still got some rough around the edges?
Let's get Rod, because I think Rod got some expertise on this, because I would say the way you and your wife's brand is branded as like the couple who has it all. So I would imagine that, I mean, when people see that, I'm not saying
you got to get reactions to that.
When people see that.
No, 100%, man, my wife is blessed, 100%. But I truly believe that the values got to line up. What does he stand for? What do you stand for? What's your foundation built on? Is it sand or is it concrete? Do you see a committed man? Do you see a faithful man? Do you see somebody who will love outside of himself? Because at the end of the day, when we talk about finances and all of that, then if he has the drive and his foundation is strong, he can be as great as you can take him. Because one thing about it, you can speak life into that. Baby, you awesome. Baby, you going to be so amazing. You going to achieve so much in your life. Man, a man will run through a brick wall.
Come on, preach,
that
preacher.
type of encouragement.
From his wife.
From his wife. Spouse at the time, if you dating them, you could speak that man into a place of greatness just from the words you speak. So to me, if you got a man who's committed, love you, love God, values are set in stone, then at the end of the day, you can work with anything. Because my wife met me, I was coming out the league, but when she got with me, I was just facing the 08 crisis of the financial with the whole real estate. And I was in real estate strong. I was building 2 subdivisions on the south side of Atlanta, and I lost almost $3-4 million cash in that deal when the market crashed. So when my wife met me, I was losing houses, losing cars, foreclosing. I didn't know up from down. She caught me at my lowest moment.
Wow.
And she rolled with me through that. Through them 2 years of me trying to figure it out, through them 2 years of having nothing, trying to get back on top. But one thing she knew, this guy has the drive. I seen what he's been able to accomplish. I see what he, she already knew what I had. So that little moment in our life that we were just going through the fire, she knew what was going to come out the other end. And look what we at now. Because she saw that in me, even though she saw the good side too, but she saw the fall, and she was there for me to help pick it up. It was a point at that time where my baby mama at the time tried to get me for child support. I was behind like $5,000-$10,000. She just met me only a month. And when I got jammed over that, I think she said I only got $5,000 in my account, but I give it all to you. I said, Jesus Christ, where do you find a woman like that? I didn't accept it.
Right.
But when she was willing to offer her last to get me out of jam, I said I'm gonna ride with this one.
I mean, I ain't gonna. First of all, brother, you was like fresh out the NFL, so it wasn't that hard.
She the fall because in the day I was going through. You know what I'm saying? I was big into the real estate game. I'm talking about multi-million-dollar project. So when the crisis happened, I was losing everything. So that NFL ball and you seen it, you saw the penthouse leaving. Right. You saw the 2 500s leaving. You wasn't there long, so you could have been like, no, you got too much going on at this moment. I don't want to deal with this. But she saw something great in me, and she saw what happened and what we built in our marriage and our family and the kids and our daughters we got now. Like, that's the part of the journey that a lot of people don't ever want to see. They don't never want to go through nothing to see what can come out the other side.
So I
think Lala just got to make sure his values and everything line up. Just pay attention. Don't even say nothing. Just watch him.
I got a question for the fellas real quick, but I'm gonna say this, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and end this poll. We at 84 votes. Listen. I want y'all to share this right now so we can get over this 400 mark. But can a man be considered a real man without achieving marriage? Surprisingly. They said yeah. They said yes. They said he can be a real man without achieving marriage.
How? What are you basing him off of? Not his achievements, because money. Women can get money.
That's true.
So if women can get a bag and a man can get a bag, what sets us apart? What is it? Think about it. If a woman can get a bag and a man can get a bag, now what makes you a man?
Talk yo.
What else you got?
Come on, Ryan.
Talk about success and monetary things. What else you got?
Yo, ladies and
asking,
gentlemen,
what else do you have?
listen, look, Rod has put out a challenge out there.
I'm just
Y'all
asking.
gotta let him know. If it ain't a family and marriage and stewarding over everything that comes with that, then what makes a real man?
First of all, I'm about to put a baby in somebody this week. Because he gonna be trying me like that.
Don't put the cart before the horse, baby. Don't put the cart before the horse.
I'm not saying at some point in time, you gotta say, man, what else God has for me? You know what I'm saying? I thought I succeeded. Football, money, women. Is that it? Till I got married and saw what real sacrifice looked like. When I found out what I have to steward over and protect, this what it looks like to be a man. Because now it's just not me. My life is dependent on these other three is dependent on me. That's strong.
And see, I agree with that, Rod. And I think so. The audience is saying
granddaddy is the one you looked up to. Great granddaddy, who's still with great grandma, and now y'all got generations going to grandma's house. That's the one you looked up to. In reality, you looked up to great granddad like, man,
I know.
You the man.
You real.
Because what they're saying is character. But I'm on the same page with you though, because you can't really test a man's true character until you put other people that he's responsible for.
Yeah.
So I'm on the same page with you. But it was one thing that you mentioned. You mentioned that it was this key moment where your wife offered you the $5,000 and you like, hey, this is the type of woman I'm gonna continue to pursue, and whatever she needs, I'm gonna be able to be there for her.
100%.
But I want to ask Crump, is there, outside of just like a big moment, is there any other key indicators that a man could evaluate to know all of that grace y'all been talking about giving y'all women, that hey, I can turn that on now? Is it a key factor?
What do you mean when you say I can turn that on?
Because basically, I mean, y'all detailed all of this grace that you providing your wives.
But she's providing grace for me too.
Okay, understood.
Let's be clear.
But is there a point that might come before the marriage, or do you not give yourself to a woman like that unless she's in the marriage commitment with you?
My experience. I wouldn't speak in matter of fact, but I would speak in my experience. Like in the courting phase, like we was pretty much on point. Like my wife was always kind of showing me. It didn't switch until we got married. You know what I mean? A lot of my switching energy of me having challenges with her was once I got married. But prior to that, she was always like A1. Like it was. She would even do stuff that I was like catch me off guard. Like, oh, everything you coming to Bermuda, I pay for everything. Like whole new wardrobe for Christmas in college she bought. Like it was like stuff she did. I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like she was A1 during the courting season. But there was no spiritual attack in courting. Like, we're now a representation of God. So the attack is going to be different when you're publicly saying, this right here is what the relationship, how God is with man, is with me and my wife. We're the representation of that now. So it's going to be a different attack that I wasn't prepared for, that I wasn't used to, that I wasn't equipped at the time. That's why I had to give grace, because I had to grow.
And even speaking on, we talk about the character.
Okay.
when you're single, you can go get any woman, find somebody to sleep with. You have no discipline. You just, flesh is winning. Lust is winning. As a married man, what happens when she don't give it to you for a month?
Discipline.
Ooh, what that look like? What kind of man are you then? Are you one that's going to
Are you throwing them
prideful?
tantrums?
Are you throwing a tantrum? Are you thinking outside the box, ready to go run to something else? Are you the one going to say, hey, man, during this season, God, whatever you ask for me, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to take this and I'm going to learn from this. And in the day, it trains your flesh, man. If you keep dying to yourself every day, all of a sudden you can I deal with men all the time because they always ask me, Rob, how you don't fall trap for, I know you in the gym, I know they coming at you, I know you get it thrown at you, how do you keep fighting off? I said, man, because I've trained myself to die to flesh, and it's not because I keep dying to the women trying me, it's because I got to keep dying to my wife when she don't want to get it. You know, before I used to probably run to pornography and be like, man, I just need to get it out just to get this off my brain. Now I learned that, man, my discipline comes from honoring God and still not running to that and just going to sleep at night in peace when I know I'm not getting the attention and the love that I feel like I deserve or want. And that's the disciplined man. That's when I say, man, we become dangerous when we discipline his brother.
First of all, this brother don't even season his food, so you know this brother, he not living for the flesh.
Listen. And once again, going back to that book, right? Think about this. Adam, in the Genesis story, Adam had the best friend in the world. He walked and talked with God. Mm-hmm. He had the best house in the world, crib, right? The Garden of Eden.
Yeah, it was abundant.
He had the best job in the world. He had to name everything, right? But still, God said, it's not good that man be alone. I think that might be better translated. This thing that I created will not be its best by itself.
By far.
So let me create something out of it that will complete it and then allow it to be its fullest and most complete creation.
Yes.
Right? And so, you know, I want to real quick go back to Lala. I want to encourage her. That's our girl. Shout out to Lala.
Shout
Bradford,
out to Lala.
Right? Lala has to embrace being an incubator. Women are incubators. You plant a small seed, right? You get a whole grown baby. Anything that you plant into a woman, that you invest into a woman, she's going to give you back fully grown. And right, so if you plant disrespect, you're going to get 10 times the disrespect.
100%.
But if you plant love, if you plant peace, if you plant joy, if you plant understanding, she's going to take all that in, absorb it, incubate it, and give it back to you grown. That's what happened to Rod. Mm-hmm. It's just now you got to deal with the cantankerousness.
My wife is an incubator, so when I fall weak in frustration and get arguing with her, I'm gonna catch that smoke. And now she ain't talking to me for 2 weeks because I wasn't.
She gonna give it back to you.
She done gave it back to me. She giving it to me. Right. But in the day, I'm still learning. I'm still in this journey. I'm still seeking wisdom, and I'm still trying to go. I'm just telling brothers, just stay encouraged, man, because in the day, it's a long road. Ladies, stay encouraged.
Man, praise
he
God.
He might be that sorry man that you married, but it's your sorry man. Right. You know, speak life to him, man. Right. Speak to that.
I wanna go into this. I want to transition a bit too, because especially for that young lady who says she's 2 years behind, just missed this part. She wasn't subscribed to Hardly Initiated.
She was
and what
right
happened was she ended up experiencing a divorce. Now, I understand where you brothers stand on divorce. And by the way, are you on your second marriage?
This is my second marriage.
This is your second marriage. So you had a divorce the first time.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I think based upon how we've been communicating, it sounds like everybody here agrees that divorce is failure.
It is.
It is. The absolute failure.
Oh, it's letting the devil win.
Divorce is failure. So with that in mind, do you feel like you should have, could have, would have been better off as a man if you would have worked through and actually carried out that first marriage? Or do you feel like you needed to shed that first woman to get to this woman now to become your best self?
No, not at all. I think that both women were wonderful, amazing women. You know, crazy in their own rights, but wonderful, amazing. They're humans. And so all I got was just a second opportunity to become the same man that I am right now.
Yes.
I just was given a second
that's the
opportunity.
bliss.
I was going to, if I settled in, if she didn't feel as hurt and betrayed as she did, because I couldn't really point. Nobody. There was no cheating in my first marriage. There was no. I couldn't even tell you why we ended.
Yeah.
I just know I felt like I was a failure. I felt like I was failing as a husband, and as a result of that failure, I shut down. I withdrew. And I shut down and withdrew. She didn't do the thing that Rob was talking about. She didn't then pour and give me that. She was just like, hey, but this was her second marriage. I was her second marriage. And so she was like, hey, I'm seeing this and I'm done. And she didn't have the kind of encouragement from her family that would have allowed us to. Well, we had opportunity. I asked, can we work this out? I was being stationed in Germany. And she was stationed with her ex-husband in Germany and loved it. I was like, would you come with me and let's try to figure this out? And she was like, no, I'm done. We only lived in the same house for 3 months.
Man.
Did she initiate the divorce?
Yes, she did.
Wow.
I was served while I was in Germany.
Wow.
It broke me, absolutely broke me.
And you feel like that was your fault. You take responsibility
Definitely
for that.
complete.
And a man should always take responsibility. If his woman files for divorce, it's always on the man.
I'm just taking responsibility for the
you
part
gotta
I played.
Yeah, you got to
Right.
take
I couldn't do
ownership for
nothing
your
to.
role.
I
She
couldn't do
will.
nothing.
One thing about it is two things for sure, and I tell my wife, and I'm always online saying this: we gonna stand at them pearly gates separate. We're not gonna stand together. Regardless if I die first, you die first, we die together. We got to go see God by ourselves. And we got to be held accountable for whatever we did and didn't do. So when God asks you, what did you do with that husband I gave you? You got to answer that. And I got to answer for what did I do with that wife. And my job to me right now is when I get there, I need God to say, son,
Well done.
job well done.
Well done.
I put you through hell on earth. You didn't get no peace. And you stood in the gap for her. Like I sent Jesus to die for you. You died for
Come
her.
on, Rod.
You see what I'm saying?
Come on, baby.
We don't never look at it from that way. I sent him to die for you, and he went through pain on top of pain, betrayal, everything. And you did the same that I asked you to do. So come on in. That's what I'm looking at in
Right.
the bigger picture.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for right now. I'm looking for my eternal. And in the day, the only way I can do that is to obey and be diligent, man, at this point in time. And I'm not going to get it right 100%. I'm not a perfect husband. I fall short all the time. I get in my feelings. I get to argue with my wife. I get frustrated, but I'm working every day to get better and better, work on my meekness, work on my patience, work on my love. But I'm just saying that we always can just understand that we got an assignment. And we can't fall short before the assignment get answered. You know what I'm saying? Before we finally figure out what God got for us. If we quit, and that's for women too, you can't keep quitting. Stand in the gap for your husband. That sorry man, you stand in the gap and you honor him even in his weakest moment, man. God might turn that man into the best thing ever. But you would never know because you're not willing to go through the fire with him and trust God. And now all of a sudden you're going to give him to another woman and she going to speak that life that you should have spoken.
Right. And she's
now
going to get
you
all them
see-
benefits.
Oh my God.
She's going to get all them benefits.
Hashtag.
Shirley right
What?
now is
And
getting all them
and that's the
benefits
question they always ask. So
that my ex
I
would have
been-
gotten.
We would have been together if you would have treated me like you treated her. No, we would have been together if you would have devoted yourself and honored me like she's honoring me.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't even give me a chance to get to the other side. You saw me working hard. You saw me fighting, losing battles daily, not being able to live up to what you needed me to, and you gave up on me. What happened if you would have stayed? Because in the day, what smart, wise man don't fall every other day? That's the only way you're going to get wisdom. You learn from your mistakes.
That's a good point.
Now, I'm not talking about cheating. I'm talking about within the marriage.
Yeah.
Yo, real quick, because I know Crump, bro, we going crazy right now. Crump, I want you to chime in on that. I know I can tell you got something to say, but I want to give a shout out real quick because the YouTube memberships are going insane.
crazy.
The family's growing.
Yo, over 420 people on the live right now. Yo, Shanae Randall, welcome to the squad. Joining the YouTube membership. Ali Zumba Moda 77. I hope I said that right. Welcome to the membership. And guys, listen. For $10 a month, I mean that's $120 over the year. First of all, everybody need to be
And
dropping
this
the collection
therapy right
plate.
here.
Everybody
This
needs to be
is
dropping the
therapy.
collection plate because that's nothing.
We need
Because
this.
I know for a fact we getting a lot more than $10 a month worth of game in
100%.
just this episode.
100%.
And I'll be real, man. Y'all like, cause I know I want to get married, and I want a family, but now I want to aspire to get married.
Yes.
And cause I realize I'm not. Y'all got an elite club going on.
Yeah.
It's 100%.
And I most certainly want to become my full best self, best man. So
Yeah, and I wanna-
y'all got me.
And I want you to come in this fire. I want you to join the boys club because you're gonna come in this fire.
All right.
It's not gonna be
You need all the smoke.
Yeah.
You
But I'm
need
trying
every
to show
last bit
you
of it.
That even through it, and you can see me and my wife on social media, be like, man, that look good. I love their marriage. I love that. But you still know that we going through the fire. The only thing we doing different from a lot of people, we not giving up. That's it.
I appreciate y'all for that too. And I'm sorry, but I appreciate y'all for actually showcasing that because we don't have many great examples of marriage, of couples out here doing it the right way, making it look sexy. Marriage just don't look sexy right now.
They don't.
Right.
In our culture right
Yeah,
now,
that's very
marriage
true.
it's a misery love company kind of thing. You know, it's like it's something that is even like, why would you even put yourself through that? We even question the benefits and the value of it. So I appreciate y'all taking the time to showcase yourself, even with all the I didn't even know all the hell that you was dealing with back there.
And you don't know the half of it.
And I don't know the half.
What hell to with me? You see what I'm saying? Like we both are dying and sacrificing daily. Because as much as they see me and say, "Oh man, you got big chocolate man," oh Lord, you know, man, she want to be like, "Oh, he's not great as he is. This man don't care nothing about my feelings. I get on him all the time. You know, I fall short all the time. So it's like it doesn't matter. We all gonna fall short. Your man gonna fall short. Just don't give up on him.
Don't do it. Coach, what you got for me?
I was just thinking about from a man's perspective of just coaching, just a language piece when you talked about, man, but is it your fault? It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility.
Yes.
How your child behave at school, it's not my child. It's not my fault how my child, but that child's my responsibility. I'm gonna deal with that. How my wife behaves, it's not my fault because she got free will, but she is my responsibility. Everybody in my home, how they individually behave, they're a human being, they got free will. That's not my fault, their behavior, but they are my responsibility to make the adjustments, to address certain things, to pivot, to change. And I wanted to free you guys because I heard it was almost like you was asking the questions in the context of, because I knew you was going to get to a point where you'd be like, man, but marriage is not sexy. Where you was like trying to poke the bear, trying to figure out which one of y'all just like just beat up about this. Is like, it's the greatest investment I ever made in my life, right? And it's important for that to be clearly understood and communicated.
Yeah.
And for you guys coming from a narcissistic westernized culture where we look at marriage as a as a giving in, as a give up, as I'm losing. Eastern world, because I've been able to travel to over 30 countries, like that's not, marriage is the ultimate. It's the ultimate thing of building a legacy forever.
Yes.
Like everything you're doing, it is to get to the point where you get married so that now my life is bigger than myself. My life is officially. And then here's the cool thing. As a man, God has literally positioned you to run point. But if you are conditioned from a Western world, you're thinking point as being in control and on top of everybody. But once you're in the spirit, you're in point as the foundation. Everybody gets to stand on me. Everybody gets to stand on me because they know I'm good ground. So when I went to South Africa and they gave me the Zulu elder gave me my name is Vusi. And Vusi in Zulu means anchor. So the Zulu elder would say, Chris, he's listened to me. He was like, you're going to be like an anchor for a ship where everybody's on the boat having a good time. All on the seas of life, not realizing the only reason that they all stable, the only reason why they all able to party, the only reason why they all able to engage, because there's an anchor deep down underneath the ocean, and God has commissioned and called us to be the anchors
in
for
the
our
cold
home.
depths,
Come on.
dark, lonely.
So when I say my South African name, Boosie, I don't say Boosie, I say Boosie, because that means I'm anchoring my home. And that to me, I'm not going to get credit. I'm not going to get an award. I'm not going to get a certificate. I'm not going to get verified. But my home, my wife and kids, they get to stand on a firm foundation, and they're going to be straight for generations because I ain't going nowhere.
And it's never going to be a right one. Let's go ahead and clear this out. It's never going to be the right woman, right man. It's all a choice. Two perfectly two strangers can be from two totally different worlds. Y'all can come together and choose to love each other, care for each other, and honor each other, and y'all marriage or relationship can be amazing.
Come on,
But
Rod.
it don't matter because
Rod,
Come on, Rod.
It's a better one, though.
No, it's not.
It's a
choice,
better
'cause
one.
That
No.
better one might not choose to love you the right way. She might on paper look good. She might be beautiful outside, but she still might not be. She might not choose to love you like you need to be loved. She might not choose to honor you like you need to be honored. So it don't matter who you choose, man. You can make it work. Me and you could be friends and we ain't never met a day in our life. And we
Hold
choose to
on.
say, man, I'm going to rock with you. We going to ride for each other.
Now, Rod, I get what you're saying, but we got to throw some context on the back of that thing right
ahead.
there.
Okay, what context
Got to be
you
some
got?
context.
Give it to me.
Because I get it's going to be inherent challenges regardless of who I choose. But I still do think there's a better person to choose. And here's why I say that. In many ways, I ain't married. The closest thing I got to a marriage is this man right here. This is my business partner. This is the closest thing I got to a marriage. We done owned 2 businesses together, been in 3 businesses together.
Yeah.
We done been through a lot of
And
stuff.
we done been through a lot of shit, a lot of storm, a lot of ego fighting, a lot of battling.
Yeah.
And they even coach you when it comes to choosing a partnership, a business partnership. There's certain qualities you want to look for.
No,
in a business
1%. The values and foundation got to be solid in the woman. But I'm just saying. But you never gonna meet the perfect.
Perfect, right? That's
That's why I want to get. So hold on. This brings me into a good conversation.
Go ahead.
Especially for my single ladies in here. I think they're gonna appreciate this one here.
Go ahead.
For the brothers here who have been through the trenches and who understand some of the things that you're gonna go through. What are some of the mandatory values me and Ryan should be considering when we are considering this woman to take this and walk through this damn fire with? And I can't get a divorce because y'all saying the divorce is quitting, and I gotta stay through all the way.
You gotta stay.
And the values, which values should I be looking for in this woman to be stuck with?
Pick me.
Please.
Pick me.
Please.
Let me tell you.
Give it to him.
When I asked Shirley to marry me, she hadn't had children. She was way lighter and had that. She still has an hourglass shape, but it was less of it, right? Mm-hmm. Beautiful woman. So that couldn't have been my motivation. What I said was that she would be, what I identified was she would be an amazing mother, and that if I was sick, she'd wipe my ass if I needed it. And when I was sick, all 4 major times, the 3 I mentioned, and then the open heart surgery before that.
Wow.
And I'm standing at the sink and don't have the energy to clean myself. Had just gotten out the ICU. And she's sudsing up them washcloths and getting the lotion and cutting my nails and we was at odds then. We was in the fire then.
Come on.
And she still showed.
Wow.
Right? So then remember I talked about 2016, we out the fire. We removed from the fire, 10 years removed from the fire, and I'm sick again. And she's right there beside me. She's there every step of the way. She is rock solid. I remember the 2 times she had to hear that I had cancer and watching her break. And he'll tell you, Shirley's not a breaker. Mm-hmm. But I watched her break, I watched her gather herself, and then I watched her show up in ways that I never could have. It's like these people that's like, I'm never going to, like, if you're of the culture, it's like, I'm never going to get married. Then who gets to sit beside you and to comfort you when your mother is laid in front of the church like my mother-in-law was just recently? For me to be beside her was everything.
Show up in the gap.
Not a friend being beside her. It was a bunch of friends. Not her children being beside her. They were sitting right there. But her husband was there. And he was rock solid. And she could stand in that most vulnerable place. Because the thing I feared most for Shirley in her life, her something happened to her 2 boys. I thought she'd be all right. But something happened to her mother. And to watch her grieve with such grace and class, and that she wasn't falling all over the place. She hadn't been. Not saying she's grieving, she's going through it, but she's doing it with a grace because she feels completely and supported by her husband.
And Tyshawn, I think that's a big thing. I think that what he's saying when it comes to loyalty is so important, because at the end of the day, my wife might not talk to me. My wife might not say I'm the right man for her. My wife might not say, I don't know how I'm gonna make it through this marriage. I ain't got nothing else for you. I 100% in my heart of heart believe my wife will show up for me at all costs.
Wow.
Regardless. She gonna talk and say whatever, but her actions always gonna show me that she's here. She never ever has wavered from that. Her mouth has told me other things, but her actions has always shown me that at the end of the day, Rod, I got you. And that's what it is. I think that's one of the qualities you got to find. Somebody you feel like you can really turn a house into a home. If you can see her do that, I mean, you give her a house, and without you doing anything else, you know that woman can build your home. You know that woman can multiply your family, and you can see it in her without you doing anything, then I think you got the right one. But if you just saying a good time from sex and all that, you in trouble, because that ain't going to be the same. Yeah. But if you can look at her and say, man, if I give her this house, she'll turn that into a home. You got yourself something.
Outside of the basic, I want to say this part. Outside of the basic faith, I'll just give you some practical examples what my girlfriend did that let me say I'm marrying her and I'm never leaving her. One, we was out dinner, and we was in Bermuda, and I was at a fancy restaurant, and it's very expensive. And we got ready for the bill, and she slid $200 worth of cash, and she kneed me underneath the table and put it in my hand, and just turned and just had the conversation with the other couples. And it was like, when it's time to pay for the bill, I paid for it. But I didn't have a dollar to my name. But she made sure that she understood a man needs to be respected in public when you take me out. That she's so sure. She could have been like, I got the money. Oh no, I'm paying the bill. But she was like, my man is here, and this is his first time being in my friends. It's first time being in my neighborhood. And we didn't have a conversation. I didn't prep her. I didn't say. She just was like, let me go ahead. You take care of it.
That's some game, ladies.
That's some game.
That's some
I know
game,
both of y'all
ladies.
done met women like that. I know y'all wasn't ready for them, but I know at some point in time, like, if you done met a woman or dealt with a woman, you're like, that was a good woman.
Yeah.
She might
that's
ain't
fact.
do it for me, but in your heart, you knew she was a good woman.
And then the other story so that was the start, and I finished with this other story that said, I'm never leaving her. I was in North Carolina. I was trying out for the USA Select team, go overseas on a European tour. I made the team, but I was broke. I was a college kid. I was a senior in college. I didn't have no money. Went on NIL deals 20 years ago. So I called her aunt. She said, Chris, we're going through a marriage issue. You cannot come to our house right now. And they literally ended up getting divorced. So I'm like, I'm stuck. I made the team. I can't pay for the hotel. It's like, my mom and daddy, they can't give me $100. So I call her in Bermuda. She says, I said, babe, I made the team, but I can't pay for the hotel. She's like, oh, I pay for it. I call up reception, put my card on file, and whatever room service you need, just take care of it, babe. And don't forget I did that for you. I'm used to ratchet energy. I'm used to in my black culture is like, oh, you're gonna throw that back in my face at some point.
Right.
My girlfriend was never on that. Oh, babe, I got you. I made the team. Said, oh, Chris, before you go to Europe, you got to pay your ticket. We're leaving next week. I said, where to go? London? Yeah, London. Then we're going to Czech Republic. I said, how much the ticket to pay in a week notice to go to Europe? They were like, oh, it's $1,500. I said, I didn't even have money for the hotel. So now I ain't even considering calling my mom and daddy. I only got one person to call. Call my girl again. She said, oh, babe, I got you. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of the flight. And I'll make sure you get some spending money too. I'm watching Hurricane Katrina on the news in the hotel room, watching New Orleans people suffer, whatever. It was 2005. I remember getting on my knees. I didn't even propose yet. I got on my knees because I'm chasing my dream. I said, I would never, under any circumstances, I'm in a hotel by myself. I would never leave this woman. There's nothing I could possibly go against that I would ever leave this woman, because I've never experienced love. I never even knew there was a love like that. So what she's benefiting now that everybody's calling me king coach, now everybody wants me to speak and talk and coach and mentor, and I'm making money. We house on the hill, we traveling the world, we're going to Bermuda we having a good time now. It's because what she did in 05. The only reason you see in this version of Crump is because of what she committed to 04, 03, 02, and 05. That's why I'm here. So for me to get here and get brand new now, to get bougie now, to flex now, come on, man. I'm him, but I'm him because of her.
Ladies, let me tell
Ooh,
y'all.
I'm him because of her. That's a shirt.
If y'all see that's definitely a shirt, but y'all got the game. Ladies, pay his bills. All right? And you're going to find you a husband. That's the biggest thing you got to do. But no, that was real, man.
Over 450 people live right now.
What
We
up,
just
man?
hit the 2-hour mark. We going crazy.
I think they can get that to 5
We
before we
gotta get
done.
to 5 with these
Man, y'all
jams.
gotta
Share this
say
thing
building,
right
man.
now.
Definitely gives a foul.
Oh
I
my
wanna
What
highlight
are the good
this.
questions we got?
Yeah, because listen, bring the questions, because this chat is going crazy. Shut up and bump. I just want to holler at this person real quick. And she says, low key, this podcast is super therapeutic. Thanks, fellas, for dropping knowledge all night. Now, I dropped this poll. Which one of these wonderful guests is dropping the most gems right now? Hey, look, we got to make it spicy. So we got
No, you
right
didn't
here. We got
do that.
listen. We got Shannon. My marriage is dope. Y'all see him. He's got the beard. He's got the OG thing going
Silverback
on.
is what they call me.
We got my fellow light skinned brother,
Come on, man.
Mr.
Light skin
Smooth,
is
Mr.
back.
Smooth, Chris Crump
Rico
right here.
Suave. Rico
And
Suave.
listen,
Light skin.
I'm not even gonna say nothing about the dude muscles. So
Hulk
everybody
smash.
can talk about Rob
Hulk
muscles.
smash in the
Yeah,
building.
right.
God
We
damn.
got,
smash in the building.
we got the most fit dude
In the world.
the city, in
Filling
the
out the
world.
lens in the building.
Rob Gardner. So
AKA.
let us know. Let's get 150 people, because show some love. Is
Man,
it
get
Chris?
that
Is it Shannon? Is it Rod? Is it everybody? Let us know who's dropping the most gems, because we like to keep it competitive. But guys, what questions do you have for these guys? Over 450 people.
And look, while y'all coming up with them questions, make sure y'all drop them super chats so we can get you in the conversation, because the chat is going crazy. You got a super chat. The chat is going nuts right now. I want y'all to talk to the struggling couples at this point, because I want y'all to give them some bold advice. Okay? Somebody that's right now on the brink of divorce. We talked about a lot of things that, you guys did in your testimony. But let's give these people some practical things to do at this point. When you're really in that place, what should you be doing to really pull yourself now out of that trench, out of that ditch, out of that valley that you in a relationship? What steps should you be taking now to get up out of there?
For me, I would tell you, because right now you're at odds, and I don't think you two alone can deal with it or even be able to listen to one another. I think you need a mediator. I think you need to get either marriage counsel, spiritual counsel, whatever kind of counselor that you seek, but you need marriage counseling. I think it's so important. I think a lot of people do not invest in a marriage when it comes down to counseling. We'll spend money everywhere else, but we would never go and seek
Come on, Rod.
marriage counseling.
Talk that.
Because we don't know. A lot of us don't have a clue. We walking this out daily, but we never seek any guidance from anybody else. And I think marriage counseling, to me, will benefit you so much to hear it from another perspective, give you actual practical tools to work on. And at the end of the day, sometimes you might have to go separate, then come together.
Yeah, start separate.
Yeah, start separate, then come together and do counseling together. And now you have a baseline to work from.
Why is that? Why is it more effective if you start separate?
Because at the end of the day, you can
the
never.
energy
Yes.
is too, right? You said
And you can never be vulnerable in front of your spouse sometimes. Sometimes you will never be the person to, how do you say it, be accountable in front of your partner. Because we always want to talk about what they did wrong. First thing we want to do is bring up what they did. Why I'm acting like this is because of them. Now when you get into individual, only person we got to talk about is you.
And the level of cussing I'm gonna do in counseling, she'll need to hear that.
It'll be hard. It'll be hard to navigate.
She don't need to get none of that
I mean,
smoke.
like, the whole ninja comes out in the counseling session, and the counselor is professional enough to let you
Go
But
ahead.
if you haven't done marital counseling, any kind of counseling, usually it 100% is going to be about you. They don't want to really talk about your spouse. They don't care to hear what the spouse is doing. They want to talk about you, and let's work on you.
And that's very practical, because if you take the focus off of your spouse,
Spouse is not your problem.
you'll realize real quickly that you are actually the problem. It's not your spouse.
Yes. it's not
If you
your
if you have the courage to look deep
Come on,
enough,
courage.
right? Because It takes a real mature eye to see yourself for who you really are. And Shirley has talked a lot about when she turned the corner in our relationship. It was when God showed her, and she was ugly to her. Like God, she was like what was revealed to her was ugly and distorted, and she realized she wasn't as loving as she thought she was. She wasn't as compassionate as she thought she was. She wasn't as available and giving and sacrificial as she thought she was. And so that changed her, and that definitely changed me. I remember when I found out about Shirley's infidelity, and the day that I found out that out, I found out I had to have heart surgery. So it was like a hell of a blow. And God said to me, do not ask me for forgiveness ever until you're ready to extend the same forgiveness and grace and mercy to your wife as you want me to extend to you. So now I had to say, well, why would I need that? Why would I need his grace and his mercy and his forgiveness? And then I started really looking at myself, Rod, and I was like, ooh, I'm ugly.
For real.
And that emotion that you guys saw earlier in the podcast was me being reminded of that ugliness.
Yeah.
And being reminded of what I was. And it was not pretty. And so there's
and that's
this
what
kind of reflection. Also, too, if you at a point of desperation and you just feel like you're ready to throw in the towel, tap in with Marriage Inc. on IG.
Shameless plug. Let me ask you this, because this is one of the hardest things I can imagine.
Yes, sir.
I can't imagine my wife cheating on me, coming to me, telling me, figuring out, and me actually being able. I don't think I've matured to the level to say that I could live with that in my mind, seeing that, like that just kind of just having real estate in my brain. I can't say I'm mature enough to handle that, but fellas at the table, I just want to know.
I wasn't mature enough to handle it.
But you pushed through. You pushed through.
I didn't know
infidelity with your wife
until I was handling it. I didn't know. It's not like anyone is ever prepared for that.
Ooh. But see, this is just across the table. Is that a general consensus that if you guys experience infidelity in your marriage with your wife, that's something that you are 100% sure that you can handle and fight through to avoid facing divorce?
Yes.
I honestly couldn't even answer that. I can say honestly that it would probably be one of the toughest things I would have to go through, because that's a level of betrayal I would never want to experience with my wife. But that's one I can say, man, my God, you're going to see me on my knees every day asking God to, guide me, because at this moment, I don't know, I'm weak and I need you to show up, because I swear, if it's based off my feelings, I'm gone. But if I am a true believer and have faith, and I really say I am who I say I am, are you going to be that sacrificial lamb that you say you are for your family?
No, we're gonna edit. We're gonna edit this out. We're gonna
let me tell you. E.T. would say all the time, everybody want to be a lion until it's time to do what lions do.
Man.
Right?
Do lions
Everybody want to be a Christian until it's time to be what a Christian is supposed to be.
We want to be all this, but we never want to be tested.
No.
Why not?
And it's those things that test us.
That's what I say to real man. You never ever can show me that you're a real man unless you show me this side of you. Because in the end of the day, if everything about you is just based off what you've been able to achieve personally, or whatever you've been trying to get for self,
or you have not been tested,
you haven't been tested, then you can't really ever be able to tell me that you really are capable of being that. Because that's one of these moments you're talking about right now. Are you willing to stand in the gap?
Hey, listen, that's why Navy SEALs are who they are. That's why special operators are who they are, because they are actual warriors.
and
all
willing
this,
to die.
all this. You know, sometimes we
Not
talking
spiritually die,
sports
they ready to lose
and
their
different
life.
things, right? We talking sports like this game we went to war in this game. No. They actually bullets are flying by their heads. They're seeing dismemberment and all these certain, and they get paid to do and get, well, they don't get
think it's
paid a
about the
lot,
money.
but they get the respect that they get around the world because they actually are warriors.
Yeah.
And what
Right?
it is, they actually have an assignment that they might die trying to accomplish, but they're willing to go
But they're
through it.
willing to.
So as a man, if you really say you want a family, you want all these generational curses broke, are you willing, either physically, spiritually, emotionally, willing to die?
God, come on,
for what you
Rod.
say
Come
you
on,
want?
Rod. Talk it, bro.
You know, am I willing to die for my daughter's daughter to reap the benefits of my sacrifice? Because it's bigger than me when you really think about it. Am I willing? And that's a question you got to ask yourself.
And I'm old school. Like, my mama and dad raised me like in the 60s.
You know, it gets
so,
tough when we get to talking like this, man.
So
Yeah,
when I made that statement in that hotel room in 2005, that's why I can refer back to that August 2005 moment. I meant it, bro. I'm not going nowhere. It doesn't matter. Period. I'm old school. When you show me that you ride it, like when I didn't have nothing and nobody else, and you was there, I'm the type of person. That's why I can look Jay in. If I can look anybody. Once I tell you we riding until the wheels fall off, you ain't gotta worry about this side, bro. I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Point blank period. That's just how I'm built. That's how I'm wired. My wife called me a traditionalist. All these little modern things, everybody trying to figure out how to cater to themselves. Bro, I'm a grown man, bro. I'm a full grown man. I'm worried about me and mine. I ain't worried about just doing me. Kids good, wife good, I'm good.
And that's even on the flip side. And not to take away from your commitment, but that's the easy side, because that's when you got grace and got love. Will you still be that if you didn't get it? Would you be that if she didn't show up? You see what I'm saying? Would you be that if she didn't send you the money and told you you're not a man because you don't have money to support me or us?
Wow.
Are you still gonna be that guy?
You
Or
know
now
what?
you gonna turn into the other guy and let that twin of yours
The ninja.
show up?
Hold
and now
on.
you
The
back in
ninja.
street
Hold on.
showing up.
I
See what
got.
I'm saying?
Before I get into, because that's
I-
gonna be the segue. I'm
Yeah.
about to segue into that conversation right there. But this, I'm gonna show y'all everything right now is happening in pure divinity.
Facts.
And this super chat that we about to read is gonna show you why. Ryan, read.
Well,
let
before
them
you
know what
drop
happened,
that
man.
super chat, I want to, because we got to get that, let that super chat breathe. I want to give a shout out to Judith Sakala. I knew we would see you again. She gave us a super chat earlier,
what I'm
just
talking
joined the
about.
community. Shout out to Lucky number 34, just joined the community. Guys, we are investing in the community. It take a lot to get these kind of guys to all meet at the same time to drop this game.
Record breaking
But
night.
yes, we are absolutely investing in this community. So if you support us, guys, we're going to give it back to you tenfold. Monday,
Tenfold.
Wednesdays, just right now at 8 p.m. we going live. We're going to add another live show. We're going to get better camera. We got a better studio coming.
And we
All
still
these
doing
things.
interviews. We still dropping interviews on Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. So that ain't changing, by the way.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go ahead and give another shout out to EJT. Just sent over a $20 super
Listen
chat.
to
Come
this,
on,
y'all.
super
That's what
chats.
I'm
Listen to
talking
this.
about.
Listen, guys, y'all need she appreciate y'all, he or she, because this live was right on time. I'm literally on the verge of going Friday to pay for a lawyer to start the divorce process. But watching this episode has me rethinking a lot of things. Appreciate the conversation.
Hey, you can bring us that $25,000. We'll coach you right on through that thing.
That's crazy.
But that's what I'm saying, man. It's so important for us to have these real conversations because it's so many people and there's so many lives out there that's benefiting and having an opportunity to understand that you're not in this by yourself. And that's what I think people find out. We all get, separated and distanced when we're going through stuff and we never have people to lean on.
Yeah.
And we'll just work off emotions. But at that point in time, that's why the community has to come together. That's why this podcast is so important. Because it brings people together to start hearing. Because that person would have never been able to reach me.
Facts.
You see what I'm
Facts.
saying? So the community is so important. So I appreciate you even having us on here.
Oh, absolutely.
we appreciate y'all for being on here.
And,
And
I wanted to say this one
Go
piece
ahead.
real quick, bro, that when you talked about the counseling is going back to helping you guys get that. But I want to add another thing practical for you to get is coaching. right? Because coaching says this is where you are, here's where you need to go. Counsel says this is where you are. Let's go back and look at all these traumas. How y'all got here so you could better understand.
You can be in counseling forever.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know what I mean? So coaching, 'cause you
Actually.
can't see the picture when you're in the frame. So you need a coach who can see the whole game, but you stuck in a play, you stuck in a rep, and just helping you move and navigate that. So I just wanted to add that.
No, that's relevant, man. That's very much so relevant. I want to actually bring it back to where we were prior. You gave a hell of a point. Talking about, are you going to be that man? Yes, it's good to be that man when this woman is showing up every day, but are you going to be that man when she's not? So if you was at that dinner table and she didn't slide you that 200, if she didn't pay for those flights. Now, this is the thing. In that situation, too, she was the girlfriend. She wasn't the wife yet.
Yeah.
So we talking about how do we actually save these marriages once you already in it. But let's talk about actually evaluating, because I don't even think most of the listeners are even there yet. They in the girlfriend boyfriend stage.
100%.
That's where they at. So when you in that girlfriend boyfriend place, do you fight just as hard as when you in that marriage?
You shouldn't
or
be.
does your
No.
You shouldn't
No,
be.
so what's the threshold
it's
now?
opposite.
What's the
be.
threshold?
To me, I think one thing I hear online so much to me is so not the right way to do it. When you meet a person and they ask you, what are you looking for in a wife or a husband or whatever spouse, you should never tell them. Just say, I'm here just to have a good time and just see where it goes. Because at that point in time, whatever you're looking for,
It's gonna
you
show
will
up.
see if it's there. But if you tell her, now you're giving her the cheat sheet to show you that, and now you're getting manipulated and misled into something that you know that you should have never been into.
Wow.
If you
You're
say, I
getting the
want a loyal
counterfeit.
woman, now she's counterfeiting you, showing you loyalty when she really ain't built like that at all. But don't say anything.
Is that game for both the men and the women?
Oh, yeah, for
100%
sure.
both.
Let people show you who they
Yeah,
are.
don't say nothing.
people
Don't
show
give
you
them
who they
no
are.
game on what you're looking for. Just observe. Just
And
be
at the
there to
moment
see.
you think you need coaching or counseling, well, no, coaching, yes. But the moment you think you need therapy, couples therapy, when you're dating, run. Dating ain't, marriage is hard. Dating is supposed to be fun,
I tell my-
explorative. You're supposed to be able to experience, and it's supposed to build and nurture to prepare you for the lifelong commitment. You ain't supposed to be needing to go to therapy to figure out what. No, that's not
No,
supposed to
not-
happen.
Well, I think
Well,
sometimes
quick
that's
question.
kind of misleading because sometimes we do things in relationships before marriage that we wouldn't do in marriage, like cheating, going outside, dating other guys while we dating, because then there's no commitment. So in the day, we do still create heartache and pain.
Yeah, we
even
do.
in a relationship.
Yeah,
But
and
that
that's when
person
you got to
still-
make the hard decision. Like, is this something? Because you got to understand, marriage when you're
I'm glad
dating.
my wife didn't leave me there.
Hey, listen. You got to understand that marriage. Once you get married, it gets worse before it gets better. It's designed to galvanize you. The fire is to galvanize you. So if it's you in the fire while you're dating, that's tough. That's tough too, because it's just going to get worse. So unless you're prepared for it to get worse, if you're prepared for that natural progression of what relationships go through, then yeah.
But you don't think it's the opposite? Because in the day, if it's sweet the whole time, while
Rod,
you're
you already
dating-
married.
It's-
You already married, Rod.
But if it's sweet the whole time while you're dating,
But Rod,
and you're not
it
prepared
shouldn't be
for
a-
what it can go through.
Get on the
No,
mic,
not-
fellas.
no, when I say
my bad.
it shouldn't be a fight though.
It should
Rod.
be a
Not a
fight.
fight. No, I'm not
Right.
talking about
No,
it.
not
You-
sweet.
it should
Not
be a
sweet.
fight or force.
Life is going to life.
No, 100%. I'm just saying natural arguments. that you
Yeah.
have.
No, not that.
Not that.
Not that. I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about,
Like
it's
drag
like that
outs.
obvious stuff that is just like,
Y'all shouldn't be together.
yeah, it's like, why? It's the stuff that leads you to not ask advice from mom or dad or the pastor or whatever, but stuff that leads you to therapy.
No, that's something different.
That's it. And a lot of people are in those types of challenging situations, and all it did was get worse when they got married.
Shannon, I want to stick with you because I want to make sure this game you're giving out is relevant for everybody. So
Yes, sir.
first, shout out to Shanae Randall. This is food for my soul. Black love is powerful. Shanae, look, appreciate the super
Shanae.
chat.
Come on,
Absolutely.
Nay.
But this question, because and Michelle, listen. First off, Michelle, you better join that YouTube membership. But this question was so good, I just have to ask this one because I think it's a lot of women who follow the channel that are in this situation. But what would you say? Would you say the same thing to single ladies in their 40s or 50s that desire a husband? Okay, and do you think it's easier or harder for a woman in her 40s and 50s to connect with a man given her experience or her season in life?
Yes, when you're in your 40s and 50s and you're trying to, you're like a comfortable old shoe that you don't want to throw away, right? So you get so settled in your ways that you don't see the need to change. But what we've said all night still holds true whether you're in your 20s or in your 70s, that as long as you have breath in your lungs, you have an opportunity to grow and get better.
100%.
And if you're by yourself, those opportunities for you to grow and get better in those ways decrease. And so you should open yourself up to the possibilities of being even in your I'll be 60 next year. You need to open yourself up to, because that's really, I'm not going to say it's the only way, but it is a surefire way to get you to become a better human being.
Wow.
Surefire.
I don't know if they're gonna like that comfortable shoe example. What you calling the ladies?
Old comfortable shoe.
But just for context, OG, how old are you?
I'm 58.
Yes. So, and I want to ask you too, because you actually made a really good point. It's the difference between a coach and a counselor. Which one are you, by the way?
We're coaches.
Marriage coaches. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure y'all got context behind the game that y'all getting it from, and y'all have to understand. We sitting here with an OG vet marriage coach and a married man for more than 23 years here on the table here.
26, brother. Give me my own.
Give all of them.
Give me every
All of
last.
them.
These grades, I earned this stuff right here.
Listen, I know we taking up a lot. First of all, we've been over here for over 2 hours.
Hey, can we go back? Can we go back to the poll? Can we go back to the poll?
Yeah. No, the poll. So we can go back to the poll. Actually, look, we skipping the poll because it's just the chat just going crazy.
Okay,
Shannon.
all right.
We got
I'm
over 480 people, so we're very close to 500. This is the thing. We just got another super chat, another $20
Shout out to
super
you,
chat
Lanice.
from
Shout out to
Lanice
you.
Williams. She just
Lanice.
said victory. So Lanice just.
Big
We here.
We appreciate that,
Come
man.
on.
Yes, we appreciate that.
And I'm gonna say something that's controversial, but I'm gonna say my truth. This is my truth. I don't know if it's a blatant truth, but I think it's. I don't care how somebody take it, but I was very intentional. I explain this to my children too. They're both teenagers. They outside right now. So it's like I asked them why they think I married their mother. And I gave them some reason, like I made a conscious choice. It was no feeling. There was no feelings involved. And I made a conscious choice to marry a black woman. So I was like, I saw all the women that raised me, that built me, were struggling. And I saw one black man protect and provide for 3 generations of women. My father. My father adopted me. He was in his mid to late 40s. My father's 85. And I saw the 3 acres, the 4 houses, and what he did for the women, and I saw what they went through. And so I made a very conscious decision that I wanted to build on my father's legacy. So I don't know how that's going to be taken, but I think it's important that all these perspectives and why people do what they do, like it was no feeling whatsoever about why I decided to marry. It was principle based on she showed me, and I'm making a conscious effort. So I think my feelings don't dictate whether I'm going to stay or not.
Ooh, it shouldn't. If they do, then
Because I didn't make the decision on a feeling. I made the decision very consciously. So my feelings don't, and which they do. I've been through I had a panic attack. I broke out in shingles. I've been through it all in 22 years with one person. You're gonna go through every single feeling that you could possibly imagine, the stuff you didn't even know you would go through. But that's not why I made the commitment. I made the commitment with a conscious choice. You know what I mean? And that don't change. You know what I mean? Unless I decide to change that. So I just wanted to share that because I think context to even making these decisions for why people hang out and do what they do is important. Yeah.
So let me ask you this too, because I can imagine the things that you go through in keeping that relationship alive and what are the things you might put yourself through, like probably the depression. You talk about the things you might, sacrifice, in order to keep that relationship alive. Reflecting on those experiences, do you, harbor any regrets about the steps that, any of you guys may have taken to salvage your relationship or keep it where it is here today?
Ooh, no.
Hell no.
I don't have no regrets because I'm still in the journey. My journey's not over. I don't know where we can go. I don't know what God got planned for us for the next 30, 40, 20, God, if he give us that much time, what he has for us. But all I have to do is stay in the process, continue to fight, continue to trust him, continue to love my wife, even when she's unlovable. And at the end of the day, hopefully at the end, when the story is told, I stand before God and he say, son, job well done.
Come on.
After that, my hands off her.
Even when she unlovable.
The best thing you can do is love her when she's unlovable. It's tough to do, but that's part of the sacrifice.
Ooh,
Comes with the job.
On both
That's
sides.
Hey man, it's easy to love somebody that's lovable.
Man, it's easy to love, Dan. That's what
It's
I'm saying.
easy.
Marriage is so big because, man, it really causes you to tap in to your emotional, spiritual, everything, because in the day it's going to ask stuff of you that you're not willing to do. And I think that's why a lot of people run, because it's all based off feelings and not actual choice. And that's why I say, even in divorce, before you go to that table, before you go see that attorney, just sit still and ask God, man, what is you asking of me in this moment? And at a point in time when you are at rest, you don't have the anger, you're not mad, and you still go down there, it is what it is. But if you making that decision based off an emotion, it might be the worst decision you ever made in your life.
Yeah.
Because your feelings gonna change, and you can't go back from that. Once you break that covenant, it's no going back.
Come on.
As men, even when I think about that, as men, the biggest decisions we make in our life, none of them are based on emotion.
I disagree totally.
Totally.
You say they not based off emotions?
The biggest ones?
I mean, when you're thinking about, for example, like your marriage, you said it wasn't an emotional decision.
For me, it wasn't, because at the end of the day, we went through that premarital counseling before. And at that point in time, once I got saved, I felt like honoring God, I have to choose to do it the right way.
But see, that's the thing.
So I didn't make it that way. But a lot of decisions we do make, we buy a house based off because we love the house. Our feelings, this house is amazing, I want it. So I do think we buy that car, I love it, feel good, I'm going to buy it. So
Yeah.
I do think we make a lot of big choices with feelings, but I do think sometimes we do get lucky and make them based off logic and reason, and God told me to do something and the Holy Spirit worked in me. But we do both.
And I guess I wouldn't consider those to be big decisions but I see what you're saying, buying a house and
But
a car.
even with a wife, even with a girl, you still gonna base it on how she make you feel. You're
That's
not
true.
gonna choose her because she don't make you feel good. You're not gonna choose her because she not make you feel good in the bedroom. You're gonna choose her based off how she's treating you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're
But
not gonna choose her because she's treating you bad.
What we do is we operate under we as men, we should not shy away from emotions. We should shy away from being emotional.
Right.
And emotions
That means emotions out of control. But emotions in control is a beautiful and wonderful thing. If a woman if you believe in creation and a woman is made out of a man, what a woman is made up of comes from a man, then how could we not be emotional?
But I don't think that's.
Have emotions.
You-
But being emotional is emotions out of control.
So you would still consider that an emotion based on feelings? I still don't consider that emotion based on your feelings.
Well, feelings and emotions are two different things.
Right. But that's what I was communicating.
Yeah, that's just two different
feelings.
things. Oh, okay.
The
You're
feelings
talking
part
about
about it. Yeah,
Okay.
the feelings part about it.
Okay.
And I think that's the biggest thing, and it's such a fickle thing, when it comes to your emotions. And what I got from you brothers here today is that here's what I really got from y'all brothers. It's like the emotion, the marriage, and what's keeping y'all in that marriage and what's keeping y'all in them trenches is really bigger than you.
100%.
It's even bigger than even just your wife. It's like you're not even loyal. The reason that you guys aren't, stepping out and, doing all the things that you probably could do with all the things that you've achieved at this point in your lives is not even because, you don't want to necessarily do anything wrong to her. It's really because you really respect the actual foundation and the covenant and the union of what you guys are building. So here's what I'm really getting from this too, man. You fellas, let me know. Do you think you can have a successful marriage if you're not spiritually grounded? Because that's what it sounds like more than anything. It's holding y'all down.
I can't see it.
I can't see it happening.
It's totally impossible.
If somebody make that work without any,
But spiritual,
any spiritual, oh my God,
spiritual can be. Of course, in this day and age, spiritual is subjective. So my thing is, I don't care what you believe. You could be a Buddhist, Muslim, Hindu, Christian. You could be an atheist and just believe in right and wrong. If you don't live that, if you don't have a moral compass, if you don't have a sense of what's right and wrong and empathy, empathy comes from a spiritual place. It's not just an emotional decision that you make. It's based off of some sort of spiritual foundation. If you can't lead with that, then it's not possible for you to be
impossible. But
successful.
even on top of that, man, I look at it even
So
bigger.
not religious,
Yeah, but
spiritual.
my marriage and me walking this out, man, it's even bigger than just me, my wife, my kids, man. It's for you. Man, I can't fall, because in the day if I fall, you won't have a chance, because you looking at me as the foundation, and you looking at me, this is who I'm following. If Rod can do it, I can do it. If Rod fall, I'm never going to do it.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, I don't know how many brothers are rocking just because I'm rocking.
And they're going to be like, see,
That's
Rod,
the point.
see, Rod didn't make it. He couldn't even make it.
If they say Rod failed,
Great point.
Oh my God, there's so many people depending on me to get through it. I can't fall, because I owe y'all brothers too much to show you that, man, at the end of the day, this marriage thing can be great. And if we bring that many more kings and kingdoms and households is chasing God and building families, man, oh my God, we can be so strong. But we have to stand in the gap. And a lot of us brothers keep falling, man, and that's what we got to stop.
Yeah.
We got to stop. We got to hold steadfast, man. We got to love our wives, man. We got to stay committed. We got to stay faithful. We got to hold this together, because it's more than just you. You see what I'm saying? They depend on this.
Yeah.
We're the systemic solution for humanity.
For real.
Like when I did the work in the nonprofit space, somebody was like, man, I've been giving to women and children for 20 years. I said, why are you saying that you've been giving to a charity for women and children for 20 years like it's a flex? It's not a flex. I say, you know how many organizations have to give to women and children with a spiritual, strong male in the house? You know how much government funding that home needs? 0. You know how much intervention that home needs? 0. Every man that I know that's a good steward over his home, you know how much additional assistance that home needs? 0. All these women and children that need a lot of help and intervention and government supports and nonprofits to do.
Covering.
Ain't no covering at the crib. You know what I mean? So it's like if you pick the community, you do a region of Atlanta, every home is going to have a spirit-led man of God taking care of the wife and kids in that home. Every last one of them. You would be shocked at the crime rates, at the suicide rates, you'll be, everything will go left, but it's like the way we keep all of this dysfunction going, you only have to do one thing.
Just ignore the man.
deep.
Just ignore him.
Take the man out the home. Just
100%.
That's all you got. It ain't rocket. It ain't all these issues. Bro, this is information.
And this for the ladies and men.
Yeah.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you don't know. Spiritual warfare in families is the number one thing. The devil seeking families. It said he's seeking. If I can get the man out of the house, I can still kill and destroy. Because at that point in time, he can't cover, he can't protect. I can send another man in there to molest her, him, whoever. I can send another person in there to get in the wife's ear to take her to another place and never go seek God.
Come on.
So if he can get the man out the house, he can control the narrative. And if the man is in the house, he always have control. You always can lead your family the right way. So I done had so many of my brothers who was like, me and my wife both came to the decision, we just feel like we better co-parent. I gave them that example, big homie. You're getting misinformation and you're getting manipulated by the devil, because if you leave that house, now that devil can come into that home and the things that you wish wouldn't have never happened will happen.
Wow.
Because you outside the home, you got no control. Who covering the home? You see what I'm saying? Who covering your daughter when she bring that man, this sweet talking your wife, your ex-wife, and now all of a sudden he's in there with your daughter and you don't even know it. And now she's traumatized for the rest of her life.
For the rest of her
you didn't
life.
stay. You can't blame your wife. You gotta take ownership, man. So it's so much bigger than just the feelings, man. That's why I get so frustrated when it's like everybody make all these decisions because, oh, he don't make me happy, she don't make me happy. Man, there's so much warfare going on, but you don't see that the devil's at work all the time. And we got to pay attention to that because it will cause you to make decisions that you won't ever be able to come back from.
Yo, I need them amens in the chat right now. If you feeling this, drop an amen in the chat. We had 485 live. It's going
That's
crazy.
what I'm talking
We
about.
also had Michael Hood join the YouTube membership. I'm going to drop the link again, but look, check out the description. Each 3 of these guys, their link is in the bio. They're doing amazing
check us
things.
out.
I want you to support these guys. And if you really felt this on your heart, not only do I want you to drop an amen in the chat, I just want you to send these guys just a message. Send them a DM. Say, I checked you out on the Harley Initiated Live. Loved it. Got some game. Thank you. Even if it's just a thank you, add them on IG. Send them a thank you because y'all turned up, man. Like,
Man, if you
it's
knew,
crazy.
bro,
It's
if you
crazy.
knew how many DMs that we have gotten, hey, I watched y'all on the Harley Initiated podcast. So much help, so much value, so much. Can you help us? It's just really, really, one, thank you guys for having us, one. But it's just to see the fact that people really, like, people want to believe that they can make it through. They just need help.
Make it through.
Yeah.
They just need they need this outlet, this media outlet, this growing conglomerate, right?
Right.
To continue to bring on guests that, man, that's my baby bro. So
Gotcha.
right, that's just. But now you, my baby, well,
I love you.
you
too,
know what
bro.
I'm saying.
I got you.
Baby
I
is
got you.
relative.
He the OG. We all his baby. Baby
but,
at the table.
But the fact that how transparent you guys have been, like you guys have a consistent pattern of bringing on people that are willing to bare their souls for your audience. And I hope, one, the audience appreciates it, but it is these kinds of conversations that you can see from ex-soldiers, ex-pro athletes, now doing amazing different things collectively, but separately. You're trying to just add value. I saw Rod on his platform going live and just encouraging and talking. And
100%.
you
That
talked
was dope.
about some
That
of
was
your
dope.
members of or your the people that support you doing amazing things because you are who you are as a husband, who you've chosen to be as a man.
100%.
I saw that in real time.
Come on.
Yeah.
Right? So
Powerful, man.
just to be able to see that and be around that, and for you guys to be, y'all gonna be
We gonna get
some
it.
crazy husbands, right?
Yeah,
Because
you damn
all
right.
the information
You damn
that y'all are getting, sometimes you know, it's like being on the court with MJ or playing on the field with somebody that's just a great athlete, and it's like you might get caught up in watching. Sometimes I'd be looking at y'all faces and it's like, y'all like, did he just say that? Right, he ready to implant babies, right? You're ready to find a wife. Like this growth for you guys, this journey that you guys are on, you think it's about business and the whole industry of podcasting, but this is saving your souls. This is
1000%.
preparing your families.
1000%.
Because the men that you are, if you leave out of here and you cheat on your wife and don't work hard and don't see the value, then I don't know what to tell y'all. You know what I'm saying?
I told
I
somebody
receive
this
that.
the other day. I said, look, we have straight up been in relationship university.
Training.
I'm talking about university. And the funny thing was, we intended to build this platform for men, but we ended up building a tribe of amazing ladies that want to learn. And we was digging into it. We was like, why aren't men tuning into this? And when I thought about myself, and even the brothers that was around me, brothers are focused, especially before they get into a marriage, they focused on getting this bag.
It's that.
They
right.
focused on trying to get money. None of us, and you guys could probably be a testament to it. Nobody was trying to figure out how to be a great husband
At all.
when you was young. Nobody was trying to figure out how to really lead, be a great father, how to deal with all the things that come with that. And the crazy thing is, you brothers sit here consistently. Every brother I sit with tells me that that's the hardest thing they've ever had to do. It wasn't the business.
It wasn't.
It was that part. That part is the hardest thing, and that part can tend to either kill your business or multiply your business,
100%.
depending on how well you can perform at that part. So the crazy thing about it is the fact that we've been blessed and put in this position to get this information on the front end, to get the manhood game on the front end, the husband game on the front end, the fatherhood game on the front end. I can't say that it was 100% intentional, but it's been the biggest blessing.
Oh, yeah.
That I can say that has
and
come to
embrace
us.
it.
Real time,
and do
bro.
me a favor, embrace it, because it's hard out here in these streets to really try to when you start bearing your soul, they coming for you. I don't know.
Yes.
I think I'm
boy, the devil coming.
based off the hardly initiated podcast, I am the simpest of simps. for right, because that is what has been said about me, and it's like, man, listen. I tell people, I probably it would be very difficult, but I would go through it again because of the man that I'm becoming, and because of the men that I'm able to help. There's some people that I could say, okay, I went through boom, 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 boom. Now what? And they like, okay, I got to go back to the drawing board because I'm not doing none of that. I have not been through half of what you've been through, a quarter, a 16th of what you've been through. And so if you can get through it, I can get through
100%.
it.
And I want to.
And so it made it all worth it.
And I want to take one thing. I'm not saying brothers are not grown men or not men when I said you really don't show who you are until you get married. Because in the day, as a brother, we fight every day just waking up, trying to live and make it through the day 24 hours.
Right.
As a black man, it's even harder.
Right.
So I know the struggles. But I'm just saying, until you become sacrificial when it's not about you, then you're showing another level of manhood. Because at the end of the day, it's about something else. It's about being a provider. It's about being sacrificial. It's about serving others. To me, that's what the big game is about.
Y'all, let me tell y'all, if y'all don't know, do not remember, we are sitting here, right here, this brother right to the left of me. We are here with Coach King Crump. Okay,
Crump.
Coach King Crump, 16 years of marriage, right next to that brother. Look right next to that. Do you see this thing? Look at the dude is cut
Darkness.
up.
Darkness.
We got another very powerful brother. Thank you. First of all, thank you guys so much
Touch
for
on.
popping up.
Appreciate
Y'all better go ahead and follow these brothers.
Yep.
Tap in and follow these brothers. These brothers are powerful here. My marriage coach here, he has, listen, these are resources here at this table that can go well beyond this podcast.
Published authors too, by the way. I want y'all to take a good look at that.
100.
Published
Published
authors. These guys is going crazy. And this Shannon's book, this Shannon's new book. We're gonna drop the link in the bio for this
Yes.
too. Shannon's gonna hook us up with the link for y'all to cop this. Y'all gotta get this.
Absolutely, guys. And for those of you who have not already done
greatest
it,
gift.
I need you guys to go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Everybody watching this still has not subscribed to our channel. Tune in, support it, because this level of game
Y'all need to
is
subscribe
gonna
like
be
right now. The
consistent.
button is right there.
Please.
Click that.
Dropping it right now.
Press that subscribe button because we will not stop this, guys. This is every Monday and every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. And I don't know how we doing this, but we still dropping our transformational interviews on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursday nights, as well as 7 p.m. So tomorrow we even got something coming for you.
Tomorrow
Super
episode
special.
crazy, yeah.
Tomorrow
yeah.
episode
Yeah,
is
it's
going to be
good,
phenomenal.
it's good.
But y'all better make sure y'all here live on Monday and Wednesday nights. Thank you again for tuning into another episode. Ding! Hardly initiated.
Hardly
Hey,
initiated.
do y'all got any last words for these folks before we send them to
Let's
bed?
go, baby.
God bless y'all.
Yeah,
Appreciate the opportunity.
I've given mine. Yeah, thank you. And just please go and support all of the platforms here. And I just want y'all to build this thing till and have it wobbling because it's so heavy.
Absolutely.
All out of alignment because that you know what I'm saying. Love what you guys are doing, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Inspirational.
Yes.
Y'all
very
killed
much.
it tonight, man. It was great.
Absolutely. Listen, if y'all want some more of this, I want to see y'all go ahead and drop put a more in the comments. Y'all want some more of these brothers here? Which one of these brothers do we need to make sure we bring back?
I'm telling you,
Y'all
let's go to the. I'm gonna stop.
But listen, though, for real, we love you guys. Thank you for those who you tuned in. This is another live episode of Hardly Initiated. We are out.
Yes.
Peace.